And welcome back to the SMITE Console League. I'm your host, Hindu Man, today, joined on the desk by the one, the only, Aggro. We'll get to him in a second, but at the moment, the Pirate Battle Pass is available now. Make sure you get that and all the Queenie skins that go along with it. Whose booty is the best booty? It's Sobek's.
It's still Sobek's, yeah. Even with this awesome Battle Pass, it's still Sobek's. That's
Has to be. Although I do like the new skin quite a lot.
It's a good one.
Still not unlocked it yet. I'll get there one day. Today, though, we're on to more console action, but more from Xbox than anything else. We've just been over to PlayStation. Now it's time for European Console League action. And we're going to get to see the Jellyfish up against Dobbos today. How have these two teams been doing, right?
I mean, Dobbos Disciples had a good start to the year, not necessarily Phase 2, but a good start to the year. We were saying, oh man, this region might finally be competitive up against Team Rival.
Yeah.
And it's proven to not be super competitive up against Team Rival.
Script.
Rival is still the top. They are going to go towards that placement week. This region is pretty much locked up at this rate.
So with the console region being locked up, we still got to bring you the games, though. So let's get into picks and bans and see how these two do this week. Hopefully, they're all still trying and learning, because the end of the season's still on its way. But Dobbos will be first pick, first ban here.
So we've seen a couple things that kind of develop in the meta. I mean, we saw in that first set that's still picking those same sort of gods that we see at that top level, Thor, Isis, Thoth, things like that. But it's a little bit more hunters in the long lane. It's a little bit less mages over there. I think that we're going to see a little bit more traditional, I'd say, than what we're seeing in the SPL these days.
Okay, well, Thor and Isis already banned out, so we're on the same stretch. Do we see much set on the console these days?
No, I don't.
High skill cap, though, right?
Probably
Tricky.
gets banned a whole lot. I can't recall a whole lot of set games that have gone through as of late on the console scene, and I doubt it's because they aren't picking it. It's real good still. I just imagine that most teams are banning it.
You're right. Set ban. Job done. Toth as well. Dobbo's back over to them then for a flex option, because they could look to throw away ban there. But Persephone is available, and clearly they don't want to deal with that. I don't think anyone does.
No.
Anyone. Anywhere. In the world.
I'm surprised that Dobbos don't pick it themselves in the first pick, man. I mean, I feel like right now second pick is at a massive disadvantage because you basically have to ban Isis, Set, Persephone.
And if you don't?
And if you don't, then the other team gets to pick one. Now, you can ban only one of those gods, and then you can get the other one. There's a whole lot of things that you can do. But as a base level, those are the three characters I feel like second pick is always banning, and that feels like a big disadvantage to me.
If that's the case, and it's those three that are the permanent bans, right, is there one of them that you could, if they expect one team to pick them, is one have a counter pick to the other out of those three? You know what I mean?
I mean, the only two that would probably see each other are Persephone and Isis. Don't really know, don't have a lot of experience in that matchup yet because both of them are banned all the time. The chances that you get to actually play both against one another is pretty slim. I imagine that Persephone actually does pretty well in that matchup because she can play pretty aggressively. That 3, the Flourish, just gets you in and out of Spirit Balls really, really easily. You can use your ultimate to lock the Isis down. Persephone seems pretty good, but so does Isis. I don't know. I feel like both gods are... I'd be happy getting either one.
And these teams taking a very long time today to decide what their first pick's going to be. It's going to be an interesting one there. We're going to see how this one breaks down. So as it stands now with those bans coming through, I'm excited to see exactly what we end up seeing picked up. Obviously, Ullr getting banned there towards the tail end. And as you saw, a quick switch of the screens ever so slightly. Blue is purple, purple is blue.
Easy peasy. Now we're back. Zhong first selection. Zhong has seen a big drop-off at the SPL level where he was picked and banned really, really consistently through the first half of Phase 2. But then really hasn't been seen recently. Zatman tried in the long lane not too long ago for SK. Didn't really go too well for him. I don't know. I think that Zhong did take a couple nerfs. Players are getting used to playing against him again. I think a couple things are working against Zhong right now. We'll see if Team Jellyfish can kind of bring him back up.
I'm trying to understand what the reason is for that. Is it because of the amount of burst damage has gone up, or the CC chains are stronger?
No, I mean he got a couple nerfs to protections and into the 1, so you have that up less often. More teams are picking up upgraded Horrific Emblem, which is really, really good against Zhong. They're picking gods like Isis, like Naja, that take him up and out of fights. Kumbhakarna is a really popular counter pick against it. I think that it's just kind of the natural flow of the meta, plus a nerf on the character really kind of all contributed to seeing less of him.
Merlin more than likely for the mid lane then, with Zhong potentially in the dual lane. Chronos now locked in alongside Ullr. A lot of burst and, well, decent damage coming out from this Ullr and Chronos.
Yeah.
Ullr definitely going to control this early game, I'd guess, although it is against a Merlin who can kind of stagnate that a little bit.
I'm curious on where these two picks are going to go for Dobbos Disciples, because normally I'd say, oh, it's easy. It's Ullr mid lane and Chronos in the long lane. But when you've got Fly, I kind of want to give him, or excuse me, you've got Vaporish Coast over there in that long lane. You want to give him the I'm just going to kill you god, and that feels like Ullr He's been a big Ullr player for his career. I believe that's the guy he got the Penta on at LAN that really shoved him in the spotlight. So I don't know. I mean, I don't love Chronos mid. I don't necessarily want to see it there, but it feels kind of weird to see an Ullr picked on Vaporesh Coast's team, and it's not immediately going to him.
Very aggressive comp from Dobbos here, but as we mentioned with Jellyfish, I didn't notice the Jing or at least speak about it, so that Zhong more than likely not going to be one of those dual lane or mid lane, probably solo.
Yep.
And now Ratatoskr to match a bit of global presence that the Horus is bringing from Dobbos.
Yeah, Team Jellyfish, pretty standard composition here, I would say. Like I was talking about at the very beginning, it just feels like teams are a little bit more willing to be more traditional in the console league, and it makes sense. Tom talks about it all the time. You know, you got to understand the rules before you break them. Still got to master those standard compositions, I think. As a Chang'e coming in likely for the solo lane here, could be
Zhong.
Pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, you anti-heal the Zhong.
Yeah.
You can chase him down. You can CC him. I don't hate it. We've seen a lot of Chang'e. Chang'e's always been super popular on the Xbox. I mean, I was playing against it way back when. And it can work in this situation, I think.
Well, let's find out how this one breaks out. Jellyfish up against Dobbos. Then into game we go. We'll find out exactly where everyone's going to be positioned here. Zorotorille will be on the solo lane. Zhong as now Trevor going to walk on in towards the red buff. His Jellyfish look to get a little bit aggressive in the early game.
Now, last time we saw Team Jellyfish, it was really around Gilchristo and what he was doing in that long lane. So I'm looking for him to have a pretty good day today. Looks like a big invade happening here by Team Jellyfish. Switch might try and get something going for them, but look at where ColossxI's going. He's not even close to his own speed buff. Looks like he's heading towards the enemy.
Always going to sneak through behind the tier 1 and tier 2 tower. Switch here trying to defend a little bit against the speed buff invade, but Jellyfish has sent 3 members there, so that's a 3-way split for a speed buff at the cost of Horus getting some experience. Everybody else on Dobbos, though, is farming much better, as we can see that solo experience of that speed buff going to ColossxI there.
This is kind of what... Clearly, Jellyfish have been watching a lot of top-end play and see, okay, we're invading speed. That's what we're doing. And so they send 3 there to guarantee that that invade goes successfully, but they end up not really doing the intended goal of this meta, which is putting the jungler behind. They're putting their own jungler behind. In Jammel, especially with him not having Assassin's Blessing, it's very hard for him to stay healthy in this jungle. He had Acorn 2 intending to fight, but didn't really get the option. The best thing that could happen for Jammel here is that he finds ColossxI right now.
ColossxI takes a lot of poke from those Harpies, doesn't have the ring toss there to do anything, so now going to get invaded. Will throw the ring toss at the tail end, but walks into NotViz, and that's going to cause so many problems for him. He goes down for first blood. And like you were saying, like, people understand the basics of the game in terms of we should invade their speed, but the reason why you're invading the speed sometimes can get lost, and clearly that's what happened there. Jellyfish, though, still end up coming out on top because poor old ColossxI there took a bad trade at those Harpies for some experience, and now Dobson in mid forced to leap away on the ult.
I mean, Dobbos was in a really good spot. ColossxI had gotten solo experience on speed and been able to go and get the blue XP and split that, and then ends up just gifting a kill over to Team Jellyfish on the only instance where that start can go well for them at all. I'm very confused by that for sure.
And that'd have been like, what, realistically, when you think about it, it would have been 1 experience creep worth for your life, and first blood life at that 400 gold. Little bit unfortunate there. Blinks online for both the supports this game, though. Horus and Kumbhakarna are going to be wielding those, as pressure's still on this right-hand side of the map for most of the players here. Speed buff's coming up now for Dobbos Disciples, and ColossxI is here to try and get his own this time round.
This is a good opportunity to defend with Dobson on this Ullr. This is exactly where you want to be aggressive, as Trevor's already down.
It could be a double kill there. Actually, the dash away from Jamal does not help him out at all as he walks into overpowered USB, and a quick slice will end his life and give Dobbos 2 kills. Nice turnaround from them. Jellyfish overextended with very little mana there too, funny enough.
Very solid defense by Dobbos, and this is where their draft comes together really nicely. Even with Zoro having the push power advantage over overpowered USB on that right side of the map, USB with a nicely timed rotation. You can tell he has that little bit of competitive experience. He's been around the league for a long time and is able to use that experience to understand he needs to be there on that invade.
Quick little pause coming out between these two teams at the moment, and probably to work out exactly who's supposed to get the speed buff and why they're supposed to do it too. But it's 2-1 as it stands in favour of Jellyfish at the moment. We'll see how this plays out as the game continues. Close set between the two, though. I feel like these two on paper kind of match up okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2nd versus 3rd seed. Dobbos Disciples has been the definitive 2nd best team in the region. I think they're definitely pretty heavily favored coming in, but now Jellyfish can play with a lot of, you know, ease at mind. They don't have anything to really worry about. This is just playing to improve and playing for your boys and that kind of stuff, and sometimes teams really excel in those moments.
Relic situation for ColossxI. Bit of a situation there for both, well, that team as a whole, because the Blink's down on Switch too. But they did get 2 kills just now, so expect no real pressure from Jellyfish for a moment or two. One other thing up in the jungle at the moment is a purple buff on the left-hand side, and you'll see Gilchristo will be over there on the Jing way to pick those up momentarily.
Yeah, poor Pretty Hair, man. He came in last week, first Smite cast, and he got Jellyfish, and these are not the easiest names, I would say, across
I don't get to cast much console, but here we go. Zoro's easy. JammelTheCammel. Is that what it's supposed to be?
I go with Jammel. So
I think it's supposed to rhyme.
Camel.
JammelTheCammel.
JammelTheCammel.
Well, it's not a camel because it's double M there, right? Isn't a camel single M?
Well, I'm assuming that Jammel's name is spelled that way. And then then they just match the name.
That could be right.
With Camel.
Jammel.
It's almost certainly not. It's probably Jammel, but I think JammelTheCammel is more fun to say, and so that's what I've been sticking to.
We make up names. That's part of the job,
Yeah.
you know? Mainly ability names, but now and again players too. NotViz, and then Treverbatenburg. That's a nice full name. That a hearty name.
Mr. Battenberg, do you?
Oh, how dare I? Rude indeed. And then obviously Dobbos, pretty obvious apart from the Horus player that hasn't got some keys, so he uses numbers instead.
Hey, man.
That's supposed to be Switch, right?
Nothing wrong with using a letter every once in a while in exchange for an actual letter.
Well, tell me what the Chronos has at the end of his name and why it's there.
Vaporish Coast 0.
Is it not Costo?
No, it's not Costo. It is. It's just there, I assume, because that looks like a randomly generated Xbox name to me that Coast has now run with, and I kind of respect it.
Yeah. I did that for the wife. I got an Xbox account with a
Yeah.
random name. You know, she got Pivotal Dwarf, and I was like, that's pretty good,
That is pretty
Pivotal
good.
Dwarf.
Did you just dox your wife's Xbox account?
No, there was an extra letter
broadcast?
in there, or a 0, or a number. You'll have to work
great.
it out.
Yeah,
you know?
Get more specific now. Where was the number?
It'll be fine at the end.
Oh, okay. And was it between just 1 through 10?
I mean, it has to be because that's the only numbers that go up to.
Okay, so it's only one number there. Okay,
Right?
great.
I mean, I said one number. And
so
like,
now people really only need to message 10 different accounts in order to find your wife's.
sure, I don't care. It's not my account.
Wow. Do you think Melanie's gonna care?
Maybe.
That's for future Graham to worry about.
Yeah, it's like, why do people keep messaging me from my Xbox account? She's only played Red Dead anyway. It's nothing bad.
Okay.
Be okay. Should be fine. She'd get message pop-ups all the time. Be popular. 2-1 still, as now the speed buffs have gone down again. No invasions from Jellyfish this time round after the mistakes on the second invade. Bit of a stalling situation for both, because both these teams really do look towards the team fights with how it's standing. So the early game's really going to be about farming, well, mistakes made.
So no blessing for Jammel here with this Ratatoskr, going with the obey strat. It looks like Trevor also started with boots too, but decided to go for Guardian's Blessing on that first back. And I don't mind this strategy if you really feel like you can force the fight, you want those boots 2 available to you. It's more movement speed, it's a good amount of power as well. Makes some sense, but Guardian's Blessing seems so valuable to end up not getting. I agree with Trevor's assessment that he kind of needs it. We'll see if Jammel's able to stay on the map long enough to make use of that sustain from the Acorn and not need the Assassin's Blessing.
Mr. Battenberg there used the ultimate, and now he may pay the iron price. Has to use his yawn and dash away into the sky and go switch on the Horus, but Naja's taking him up anyway, and on landing, the passive kicks in once more. Jammel comes down to say hello to Kumbhakarna, and after that, gets bursted down by overpowered USB. Into the play comes NotViz, but he can't really find much arcane damage, unless Overpowered felt sorry for him there and decided to walk through the avenue. Mr. Battenberg will survive, and now Zoro will be under pressure for a moment or two. In comes Gilchristo, and the pressure's still there, but no kills.
Man, the early focus on the Kumbhakarna, I mean, Trevor's so weak, but he's still a Kumbhakarna that you don't really want to get involved, as ColossxI doesn't want to get involved with the level 9 Jing way, but Gilchristo, very patient, decides not to expend the dash. And then Vaporish Coast comes in and decides he'll do it. He'll do the dirty work.
And take into account what Vaporish Coast did there. He proxy farmed between tier 1, tier 2. Jingwei rotates to try and make some pressure happen. Doesn't find any. He doesn't find a kill at least. He does push the team back. But all the while, Vaporish Coast goes to red buff, steals away the red buff, comes in and gets a kill. Not a bad day's work for that duel laner.
No, Coast very happy with that series of events, I'm sure. Switch in trouble here. Oh, but Jammel misses the dash. Needed that one.
Yep, Horus player, don't try and solo a camp in the early game. Won't really work out unless you want to use all your abilities, like any other Guardian. Even though he's a warrior, he's definitely more Guardian-esque with those abilities.
Yeah, but he's a warrior. I mean, he should be able to clear the camp, right?
Nope.
No, you're right. You just...
No, if you play support, you don't clear camps very easily. 2 abilities, unless you're Ares now, funny enough. Of all the characters that I never expected to get the most wave clear in support, it's Ares.
Ymir as well, but we don't see very much Ymir these days.
Yeah, he has other limitations, you know, is the reason why he doesn't get played. His clear is actually probably one of the most potent.
He definitely hits pretty hard, but he also gets hit pretty hard. I always like seeing Ymir because it's going to be an explosive game, one way or the other. And this isn't even a pun on the ultimate.
I was about to say, is that what you really come to now? Is that how bad this has got already? We're only 9 minutes in.
No. I'm just saying that Ymir games are always over really fast, one way or another. He does the stomping or he gets stomped. There's no in between with Ymir.
I will say only Europeans can play Ymir, though.
That is true.
I don't know why it's only that. Maybe it's because it's a little bit colder over on the, the European side of things.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
but you'd think, like, I don't know, maybe some Canadians could play the Ymir?
I don't know. They can't play Najjar, and he's got a hockey skin, so that tells you more, We don't see many of those. Pressure in the jungle here as Jellyfish get invaded on. ColossxI got a good ultimate off on Jammel, but Jammel's perfectly fine for now. Switch, channel the ultimate on Horus to probably disengage here, and does just that. 4 members strong of Dobbos in a great position, and Mr. Battenberg eats some poke again. Has to ult defensively, no passive available, gets stunned Sunshine, Vaporis coast with the kill, and that follows up a red buff invade. Gold Fury could have been on the cards there. Surprised they dropped it.
Seems like it, especially knowing that Jammel's ultimate is down.
Yeah.
Probably saw that, but Gilchristo does seem like a tasty treat right now. Level 11 would certainly be a big bounty for ColossxI. A 5-level deficit for these junglers who, really this mid 3v3 on both sides, having some trouble finding consistent farm. These red buff invades are helping Dobbos Disciples, but that was the only one where the whole team was there and actually benefited from it. For the most part, it's just been Vaporish Coast who's been reaping those benefits.
That matchup in the solo lane, always interesting to watch because it's always a battle of holding abilities sometimes. The best possible window to avoid exorcisms, or just miss them completely. I didn't mean to put Zoro on the spot like that, but I guess I did.
A little too quick for overpowered USB. I don't know why we see so much Chang'e, I feel like, in the console league in comparison to on the PC or in the minor league or anything like that. And it's really, I think it really is just player preference. It's something about this god for a lot of competitive players on the box. It just vibes really well, and it always confused the hell out of me, for sure. I played against that god in mid more than anyone ever should. Maybe it's because Poseidon and Isis were really popular, and it's a pretty good pick against both of those characters. So maybe with Isis returning to the meta, we might see more of it.
We do. Hopefully so. I don't mind seeing a bit of Chang'e, as long as he's not back in the jungle again. It's always gets boring there. Bit of an overextension from overpowered USB here. Jammel, though, is only level 8 to the level 12 of this Chang'e. The Ghost's coming to play from Zoro, but he's very low on mana. And that waxing mood slowed down Jammel enough, who didn't use the beads there, funny enough, to try and close the gap a little bit more so. Eats more poke than bargain for. Is still Zoro tanking too many shots at the tower there. Nearly got creep blocked. Overpowered USB stays alive. He wants to be a little bit more careful than this, though, stepping up there.
No blink for Jammel. He's A-okay.
Okay.
Zoro, no mana as well. Overpowered's just fine.
And all the while, with Jammel being on that right-hand side, big rotation from Dobbos to the left-hand side. They're looking towards Gilchristo. Gilchristo.
That's fun to say.
L. We'll just go with L.
No, Gilchristo's fun to say. I'm not going to say the boring part.
Yeah, that's true. And now with that, Jammel will get his own buff. The red buff invaded again. This is where Dobbos have found a window consistently here, is these red buff invades on the left-hand side. You can see Jellyfish are trying to respond by putting wards down, but wards only help when you've got reinforcements to go near those wards and secure the buff.
Someone needs reinforcements on this Gold Fury. Team Jellyfish have got to try and come in here and contest. Jammel does have ultimate. He's got a good option.
Merlin to the rescue. Jammel already in the sky, and they spot him out to Dobbos here, so they force a reset now. No, I'm surprised they don't go straight back to it now, knowing that buff's down, but I guess just with Jellyfish being around, they don't want to make a mistake and give him a gold lead.
I mean, this isn't a real lead for Dobbos Disciples yet. Despite these constant red buff invades, this gold is completely even. Experience is in their favor, but it's really spread out throughout the entire roster. No one has a big lead that you really want to play around right now, so I think I like the patience from Dobbos Disciples in that instance. Their team fight should be absolutely stacked when you add in the Chang'e. The enemy team's going to need anti-heal. They're going to need the ability to catch up to the Chang'e, to deal with the waxing moon. it's a really good team fighting character. And so if I'm Dobbos Disciples, I'm good. I'll consistently invade red. I'll get Coast a little bit ahead. If they want to fight around Dobson, they're welcome to, because this is where Ullr starts to really feel like he's at his best. But for now, I'm fine to wait.
Interested to see the build options coming through here. Looks like Thebes coming on for Mr. Battenberg, whereas Switch went for the Sovereignty this game. Is a pretty good item all round, but at the same time, Thebes has been the go-to a little bit more so. He does have 2 pretty high magical damage dealers to deal with as the game goes on.
Yeah, especially with only 2 physicals on the other side. We've seen a lot more Thebes, but it's because we've seen a lot of 4 physical compositions. So it feels like this should have been a Thebes right here, but Sovereignty is the pick, I suppose. And Sovereignty is still good.
Yeah, sure.
But I agree with you. I think Thebes far better. Maybe Dobbos Disciples want to hit a big power spike right now and don't want to spend that time stacking.
They also look at the Sovereignty of like, well, you could have gone Thebes into maybe Contagion just because we're going to see some sustain out from Jellyfish here. You've got the likes of Zoro on the Zhong Queen's going to sustain, and also in mid lane, Viz did actually pick up the Bancroft, so he's going to look for that lifesteal option as well. Answer back from Jellyfish here, as a Gold Fury does go down to Dobbos, pretty much uncontested. Jellyfish found a window to answer back at that Pyromancer.
I mean, you do have some degree of anti-heal with that 3 for Chang'e. I mean, she does provide 50% anti-heal with that, so it's not terrible overall with that Moonlit Waltz, but I don't know. I agree. I think that a Contagion or something like that after some Thebes would have been better.
Just buy Thebes, dude.
Thebes is OP. Just buy it.
It's really strong.
I can't imagine playing a game right now.
I hate admitting that, because you're the one that always complains about every other role and says mid's bad, right?
Well,
mages are bad,
well,
right?
It is.
And then now and again, you know, a support gets
mages
a half
aren't
decent
bad.
item.
Mages aren't bad. Mid is bad. There is a difference.
Okay.
But mid is so bad that you need to play hunters because they are less bad in the early game. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just get the argument right. That's all I'm saying, man.
God, I just can't wait for Season 7 scripts, so I don't have to listen to this anymore.
Wait, we're going to buff mages again? We're buffing mid? Thank you, Hindu man.
I'm just
Thank
gonna
you.
mute you. That's what I'm going to do. Force you to play a different role. You're going to be a solo laner next year.
Puke.
I mean, you'll whinge there too, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Into the sky, though, goes Colossal, taking up NotViz, who gets body blocked at the tail end, but the Aegis keeps him alive. Switch overextends, but doesn't find the CC. With Viz still being there, throwing back that Blizzard, it's going to slow them down, and Gilchristo comes on into Vaporish Coast, and the rewind is forced, but so is the airstrike.
Coast has a pretty good angle if he wants to just back it up, but the whole boys jump in the mid lane. Trevor's down, but not out.
Mr. Battenberg is still regenning, still no one landing those basics, but very Polish Coast goes, thanks very much. Zoro nearly gets a kill and does so. Dobson gets the tail end of the card damage. The arcane damage is out too. Very Polish trying to lead in the squad. Zoro gets sashed after the stun. One hit will do it on Zoro, but he's still alive.
Finally, Coast cleans it up. He's really been playing cleanup crew all game long, but also done a lot of the damage as he's going to keep surging forward. No mana, though.
Yeah, enough for a stun, and now he's going to die to that, especially with that crit. Camel round the back. Just going to commit for the kill. Will dash, look for the acorns.
Yeah, that's unlucky.
Not so yummy.
No, Switch able to help out with some great peel as Coast still nearly dies. Hey, boys, maybe, I know we got some Chang'e heals, but mana also pretty important in this instance. I don't blame Jammel for going in right there. That's a 6-level deficit to Vaporish Coast.
Yeah.
If he gets that kill,
oh yeah,
I'll bet you he's level 13. I mean, that is a huge jump that he would have gotten an XP.
I agree.
Certainly would have been worth his life, and as it stands, losing to level 11 Ratatoskr towards the back end of the fight doesn't really hurt that much anyways.
It's definitely that time when you're like, man, if only I would have gone Blink instead of Beads, but then Beads kept me safer, but then Blink would have allowed me to get kills, which would have had me catch up in experience. But that's all hindsight. It's easy in 2020. Gold lead is still Dobbos at 2k. All the towers still standing for the time being in this one at 17 minutes in, but the builds are coming along, and it's showing that Dobbos are coming out on top in these team fights. And it really is Vaporish Coast that is getting the majority of the kills in these ones.
Coast is hard carrying, man. I mean, he's level 18. So is Gilchristo, but Gilchristo, it feels like, has had much less impact with his player damage. Despite having more player damage, Coast has been able to find a lot of last hits and CC. Yep.
Pressure onto OverPoweredUSB, who already used the CC immunity. Good waxing moon on 2 targets, but Mr. Battenberg has arrived precisely when he meant to. Jamal will get the kill. Switch turns up with a good ultimate, but gets uppercut by Battenberg, and now Colossal on the way. His mobility is not really there, though, at the moment to really close the gap. And now we've also NotViz coming over here. It's going to be a bit of a pressure relief situation for Jellyfish as Dobbos head into the jungle looking for an option. Dobson might be able to find it.
There's no flicker available. ColossxI's got him with that Windfire Wings.
That's going to pick up there. Once again, Christo coming over from that solo lane, sorry, the dual lane, but he won't be able to help out in that tier 1 tower. Coaster's already brought it down. We'll find the stun. Actually, won't find the stun at the tail. And that was the basic attack. As now Battenberg goes in, gets hit, tries to get the Groggy Strike off, and that costs him his life.
Yeah, Coast is just too big at this point, man. I mean, he is doing so much damage that we've seen a little bit less Chronos as of late. Kind of same sort of situation as Zhong. Meta adjusting, getting a nerve, items getting nerfed, doesn't matter for Coast.
Linking from Zoro, but doesn't make anything happen with that. However, the crits are really coming through for Gilchristo now as he's looking for a second kill on Switch and gets it with the airstrike. This is the first time he's really managed to find some of these kills. Even though I will say, like you said, he's done a lot of poke damage. I think he's rotated really well. He's just been unfortunate.
He has, and he's farmed well. I mean, we've seen Jellyfish a little bit more these last 2 weeks, and after watching them, there's no doubt in my mind Gilchristo is the guy who's going to be the kind of breakout player of this team. He played really, really well last week despite a loss to team rival, and playing well again here in a tough game up against Dobbos. If I'm on Team Jellyfish, just give the ball to Gilchristo, man. He's proven that he can handle it.
With Coast being dead now, this is a good opportunity to go for the Oni Fury, but not the whole team is here yet. 3 members of Dobbos are now being able to ring around them, around the back. You can just see ColossxI getting in there and gets a bit of free time on Gilchristo. Into the sky goes Jamal, though, and he might be able to look for ColossxI, but won't need it. The crits are just too big. 4 stacks on that Rage now.
Man, all right, it helps to be good, but it also doesn't hurt to get lucky on the crits. I mean, Gilchristo's been critting pretty well. Explosive bolts plus 3 stacks of Rage is good, though.
Yeah, it seems pretty decent. Dobson's still hanging around the back, but got spotted by Gilchristo there. The focus is on Overpowered and Switch, but they are tankier targets. Into the play comes Vaporish Coast again. Recognize this Chronos is here, and he got teleported into a fight. Overpowered USB has to get out, so does Switch, but Vaporish Coast in the back is causing a lot of attention. Forced to rewind back 8 seconds, not very far because of the Horus ultimate put him there, but he won't find the stun. Fury's reset, however, so it's not doom and gloom from Dobbos' point of view, even though they lost ColossxI.
Good defense, and this is where that Chang'e healing really comes into play. I mean, Jellyfish know this is happening, but yeah, Horus as well, and definitely can't discount his healing.
You can. I mean, he's a healer in Assault, but he doesn't heal. Battenberg in with a yawn. Oni Fury still leashed, and it's going to go the way of Dobbos, but too close for comfort for both teams. Still, though, pressure on from Zorotorille, but he won't be able to find anything else as Dobson, low on mana, swings to the left for Jamal. Still chasing in as the airstrike with Gilchristo and Zoro in tow. The card damage next to him is good, and now NotViz on the Merlin is starting to clean up on aisle 2.
Very nice combo there from Viz. Finds himself a double, well earned. The damage between Viz and Gilchristo there was absolutely disgusting. So many crits again from Gilchristo. Really manages the kit well. Pre-pops the explosive bolts coming out of base. It's not like a lot of other stims. You will start getting that cooldown back. So he shoots all 3, then immediately reloads the explosive bolts and is getting ready to crit yet again. Nice play from Jellyfish as a whole. Despite losing the objective, a couple kills, a Pyromancer for them. I'd say they come out on top.
Well, even for the time being, Oni Fury minions though are pouring down the lanes now for Dobbos. So as long as Jellyfish get back to defend, everything will be okay. Tier 1 tower in the mid lane did fall earlier on for Jellyfish though, and their Tier 2 is really weakened too. So just keep an eye. That's the only real map presence position that's an advantage for Dobbos at the moment.
I like Jellyfish's builds a lot. I mean, I love the contagion from Zoro. I think that makes a ton of sense. See the Brawler's Beat Stick from Jammel, Divine Ruin from Viz. I mean, they are not going to get beat by in-combat healing, and you just can't let yourself be beat by that. I like their builds a lot. On the other side, finally, ColossxI's able to get some pen into the build with this early HP focus, really relying on that penetration from the Universe Ring Toss on Naja, but that pen got nerfed a while ago, so I think it was pretty noticeable. ColossxI wasn't dealing enough damage.
Zoro there with the juke boot, sidesteps left twice, and it worked out well to avoid the ring toss and the sash after that. 5 members stronger Dobbos on this right-hand side. Jellyfish on the way to try and respond. Pressure for a Tier 1 tower with no minions. Not so sure about this, boys. Been a little bit risky, but if you force it down with 2 hunters, should be okay. Into the fray comes Battenberg, and he whiffs with the Golf Strike. The dump from Jamal was pretty solid there, and Switch is going to be a casualty. Now the rewind from Vaporish Coast puts him behind, and that kind of splits up Jellyfish for a second, but they ignore Coast and keep marching on. Airstrike from Christo there, just off the mark, but Zoro blinks in and gets sashed straight away. The Windfire Wheels wasn't very good. The follow-up damage from the Waxing Moon was okay, but he still ends up falling down. And now there's a chance for Jellyfish to take the tower themselves. But the team don't want to do that. Instead, they're heading back into the jungle.
That was a sick ult from Jammel, man. A 4-man knock-up with that through the Cosmos ultimate. Pretty hard to lose a team fight after that. Just 2 grouped up from Dobbos Disciples.
Oh, ColossxI coming into play, has to blink away. That was nicely timed blink, actually, funny enough, just before the take damage from the card came through. Not
a big window, but nicely played. Still has beads coming up. Will be up in 3 seconds, but no ultimate for him. I mean, Switch has his ult. He might be able to join this Fire Giant soon, but look at Dobson.
You won't. Axe, beads. Oh, Aegis too. Dobson jumps away, but gets dashed on by Jamal, and the arcane damage. Battenberg around the back will root him in place, so the Aegis doesn't do much to the crit damage from Christo. Switch in the sky. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's just a Horus ult. And he'll fall back to safety, knowing the Fire Giant is no longer a threat.
I like the idea from Dobson, but you're a level 17 Ullr. Just not going to be able to do a whole lot. Getting both relics out from Viz and stopping a potential Fire Giant pull, but Jellyfish didn't seem super stoked about pulling that objective. There was a lot of cold feet happening around that Fire Giant, and Dobson just gave them an excuse to walk away.
And now with Dobson respawning in 20 seconds time, this should be a chance for Dobbos to go, hey, that Merlin in mid lane just used both relics in that engagement. Let's try and focus out the Merlin a little bit. Jamal getting pressured around his own red buff here, sashing from Colossal into an ultimate. Did he just block that?
Yeah, Trevor stepped in. Colossal was looking for the Merlin, and he's going to get punished for it.
Oh, the damage from these crits is really starting to ring home from Gilchristo. Now with the full stack Rage and a Deathbringer and explosive bolts, I'm surprised we don't see any sort of like reflection damage of some kind coming through.
I mean, you can't really build it on Chang'e. Thorns, no one will care about it. I mean, you could see a Nemean Lion. Yeah. I think I'd much rather see a Spectral Armor if you're really worried about those crits. Don't try and return the damage. Instead, try to mitigate it a little bit more. But can Overpowered really afford to go for another defense item? Probably has to be something like a Mantle or a Spirit Robe if he does. I don't know that a Spectral will fit in the build.
Zoro surrounded by 3 now. He was trying to zone away, but gets hit in a choke point pretty heavily. Reinforcements arrive from Jellyfish, but that means the Fire Giant isn't being done. Jamal's very low, but Switch is now lower thanks to the crits from Gilchristo, who is popping off on this Jing this game.
This guy's a beast. He really impressed me last week, and he's the whole reason that Jellyfish is in this game. If you have an ADC over there that doesn't match Coast, and their team fight capability or the way that they can impact these fights, this game was over.
Surprised by the beads there from Gilchristo, because I think it would have been late anyway if that axe did hit him, so it was a bit of a drop ball on that relic. But the pressure continuing again. I love the fact that he rotated early in these fights to try and make an impact. Didn't find anything, but didn't get frustrated. He kept doing it.
Yep.
That's a big thing to try and realize, that even though you did something right and it didn't work out, it doesn't mean you should stop doing it.
And who from Dobbos can really kill the Jing? I mean, Jing so safe, and this is where she feels really strong. Yeah, you got to really rely on Colossal hitting a big blink ult in order to take Gilchristo out of the fight, but he's been really far back. It's tough to find him.
And not only that, Battenberg's been throwing himself in the way of some of those also, as we saw earlier on. Jellyfish then with a Gold Fury, and they're starting to take this game. You said this was 2 versus 3, right?
Yep, and
you
Jellyfish
can see why.
is 3.
Yeah, you can see why this is so close.
Certainly, this is the best Jellyfish has played in a long time, I think. I mean, Jammel fell behind early, but makes a big play on that right-hand side. Zoro's been putting out a ton of damage all game. And the reason that Gilchristo can look so good a lot of the time is because Viz is also doing his job in forcing some attention from Dobbos Disciples to go to him. If Viz is doing nothing and no damage and no CC, then Dobbos can just dump everything into killing Gilchristo, and they won't get punished for it.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been the case, and so that really does end up helping the ADC, even just by way of forcing some buttons going his way.
I want to see Jamal and Viz a little bit now, get a bit of farm on this map. At the moment, I just see the level 20s going around and scooping up the farm even more so. Don't necessarily need it, sure, for itemization, but let's get these level 20s online, shall we? Viz has a chance to get some farm on that right-hand side, or in the mid lane here. I want to see him go for that. Let Zoro, let Christo hang around the Fire Giant pit instead.
Christo does need someone to tank it up, and it looks like it'll be Trevor. Gilchristo not even looking at the objective, more concerned about what everyone else on Dobbos Disciples is doing.
FG's still leashed here. Battenberg's going to drop this soon. There's no reason to keep holding it. Just taking unnecessary damage. Blinking from Switch, though. Look for some pressure. And Jamal, a bit of a panic ult there, but maybe it's no extension. Does knock up very Polish Coast, and Coast, I think, reads that. He did indeed the Acorns after the fact. Now the Chronos without that relic. Battenberg still leading the charge in. There's a Ghost were popped by Zoro. Wasn't the greatest situation. I think he was looking for a blink that got cancelled out. Battenberg still alive, though. does fall back. This is a bad play from Jellyfish. Just look at the map position of the minions here, guys. That's the biggest issue with this. Sure, maybe try and poke them out, but push the lanes out, because you lose this fight, you're going to go back and either defend your towers, or you're going to lose a fire giant.
Exactly. Not great map management so far, as Jammel forced to dash away. Blink is still up for ColossxI, has the ultimate as well. Can't afford to get too far away from the squad. Instead, Dobbos is going to try and pull the objective.
And still, Dobbos will know that Jellyfish are still around the area because no one's doing the minions at the moment. Fire Giant below, half Zoro blinks in this time. Doesn't have his ultimate, remember, so gets sashed and CC chained. He's in the pools of death and will probably die to the tick damage. No, he'll still survive. Switch, meanwhile, goes down to Gilchristo yet again. Gonna have to learn his name properly eventually with how he's playing.
8-0 and 7 for him. He's played lights out. In Dobbos, I mean, you can't just assume the Jellyfish aren't going to be there. Yes, they had a lot of low health bars, but one of those is a solo laner. He's able to heal up as Chang'e and not even need to back because his teleport's still up. Trevor was able to back and get there pretty quickly. He's got good mobility on the Kumbhakarna. And you just don't, I mean, you don't have the counter ward. It just seemed really ambitious from Dobbos to actually pull that objective.
Was he de-warding or was he just starting the fire giant?
I think he just started it.
Mr. Battenberg, sir, I would like to have a talk with you about pulling an FG early when your team are not around and taking a hell of a lot of unnecessary damage, but at the moment it's not working out too bad. Switch, I was just keeping an eye on to see if he's ulting across, but won't be the case. He was basing Jellyfish now with the fire giant.
Yeah, not the cleanest FG tank, I would say, but Graham, it's so hard to know. I mean, when is it ever going to do the knockup, you know? It's completely random and definitely not the exact same thing every time.
Oh no, I wasn't upset about the knockup. I was more upset about pulling it when no one's there. There was like 20 seconds between him pulling it and a teammate showing up.
And in that time,
he took some damage.
He got knocked up.
But then he got up again. He got knocked down. Well, he got knocked up, not down. Let's go sing that song, you know? I get knocked down, but I get up again. That's what Kumba does in his passive, though.
I guess so. I guess so. Do you want to keep going? I mean, we can do a little karaoke or something?
No, not this one.
All right.
How do you think your script's gone for console, by the way? Because you wrote the console script, you know, as we all know. How do you feel about it?
What you said earlier about writing the script. This makes no sense.
Not for console, for Pro League I do. I can't do them all.
You can't spring this bit on me in the middle of the game.
What else am I supposed to do?
We cannot be in week 10.
Yeah.
And just now you're saying I don't write the script for this league. You do. That makes no sense.
Wait, what are you talking about? You just trying to make the audience feel like this was a bit and not the truth? What?
I mean, obviously the script gets written.
Yeah.
But it's had your name on it the entire year. What, have I been ghostwriting for you?
Did you not know that bit?
No.
Did you not know you were an underwriter for me?
No.
Oh.
I thought those were practice scripts that you were just seeing how my script development was going. I didn't know you were actually...
And next you're going to tell me he totally doesn't know he writes the Minor League script.
Yeah, totally does not know that, for sure.
He wrote it at the start of the year. He was the one that wanted the Grim Deaths DQ'd at that time of the year for those reasons. Like, it makes perfect sense.
Wow. I didn't know Tolly had it in for the boys.
I don't think he did, but I guess he thought it was a practice one too then, I guess. That's why it happened, you know? Oh.
He must have been like, wow, what a crazy coincidence. This matches my script.
Oh, you'd hate to hear that Arvin was the one that suggested the Splice roster changes in the Pro League now, wouldn't you?
Wow, that's messed up. Just because Aurora wouldn't play Kepri, dude.
Find out who suggested SSG to have the year they've had.
Well, it's you. It's the Pro League.
I sign off on it.
That's the script, right?
We do brainstorming sessions,
I see.
know, for everything that goes on, and I agree to certain things.
Excuse me for interrupting you. What about my console script would you like to know, Graham?
Basically, who wins this set? That's all I care about right now. Is like, who do you think's going to come out on top?
Well, that's for the fans to find out, right? That's part of the fun.
Oh, no, but you give them a little heads up, you know? Give them a sneak peek.
You've gotten 32 minutes of a sneak peek right now because Jellyfish has looked really, really good. I mean, I would have told you coming in, if I didn't write the script, of course, the Dobbos Disciples was going to 2-0 Jellyfish and make it look fairly easy. Hasn't been the case.
See, that's what you're going to do, though, to make people think the script isn't written, is say those things. So maybe they can still 2-0. Maybe that's the case.
I can't believe this is happening.
Let's find out what happens on this push. Only one tier 2 tower left remaining for Dobbos to defend the right-hand side. But I think Jellyfish is trying to use the last 50 seconds of this fire giant to its full advantage. Keep an eye on a blink, mainly from the Zhong I'm expecting here, or a yawning Mr. Battenberg this time round. Instead, though, the grouping from Dobbos is solid enough with 5 members strong. They don't feel like aggressing, but they may go for a pick in the jungle. Blink in, yawn on switch. That's a Horus, though, and he'll just swoop back to safety.
Viz going to try and put out a little bit more damage, but got just that, just a little bit. Feels like tier 2 tower is what Jellyfish are hunting for, but only 20 seconds left on this Fire Giant and no minions. This is a little bit risky.
Yeah, I think the issue what Jellyfish did there was they didn't push up the waves before trying to siege that middle tower, so nobody had to move from Dobbos other than sit there for a 5-on-5. With the fact they've got a Jamal, you know, with the fact they've got a Jamal or a Camel or rather a Ratatoskr that has that global presence, you could have split pushed a little bit, taken that tower down, put some pressure elsewhere, created a 4v4.
Agreed.
Drop situation from Jellyfish then. 10k gold lead, however. They're in good control, but the Fire Giant's spawning again soon.
About 50 seconds left to go, and feels like this is a Jellyfish win looming, but can't afford to let your foot off the gas right now, especially if Dobbos going to take a 5-on-4.
They're all going to go in Zhong with the Ghost are causing so many problems. Dobson is so low. Switch is going to get out of there where he can, but he can't save Dobson. He will save OverPoweredUSB, however. Jamal going to lead the charge in as now everybody heading for the Phoenix. There's only 4 members left alive. One of them is very low in OverPoweredUSB. He can resustain though, and that one pick may just develop a Fire Giant attack now for Jellyfish at the right time.
That was so weird to watch Dobbos Disciples walk in. It's not like Jellyfish didn't know where Colossal was, or maybe they think he's looping around the back or has a good blink angle or anything like that. I mean, Colossal was seen clearing a wave by Phoenix on the other side of the map just a moment earlier, and still Dobbos Disciples walk in on a Pyromancer. They know Fire Giant isn't up. That was terrible decision making.
FG getting very low here. In comes Colossal for the steal, but Jellyfish secure it, and now Colossal misses the Windfire wheels. Battenburg still front line as Disciples now fall back. Everybody on Jellyfish alive, and with the Fire Giant around their waist, they're looking good for the Phoenix Sieges.
Now they can back, make sure they're nice and healthy. No reason to force it right there. You probably want to wait until Jammel's beads are up. About 90 seconds from now, gives you plenty of time to push out these waves. And oh yeah, Gilchristo just got a 3k power pot right here, so he's going to be feeling pretty good, I imagine, about where this team fight's going to go.
Quick question as well, right, about the power pot situation. Should you go power as a hunter, or did you go defense? Because I saw Paul last week went for a defense option.
Yeah, I think it depends on the way that the game is played out. I think you can go both ways. Gilchristo's been under no pressure all game. I would be shocked if he wasn't bottom of the damage taken charts in the post game. So he's been under no siege. Why buy the defense pot? I want to see some 3k plus, 1k plus crits on some carries. It feels like that's the direction this game has gone. Gilchristo's been very safe. If you've been under siege, if you've been constantly getting dove, maybe it's a little bit different. If I were in Coast's shoes, I might buy a 3k defense pot to try and stay alive. But in Gilchristo's shoes, I'm absolutely going 3k offense. And
shout out to Doug there. He put the damage mitigated up on the screen for us all at home. He really listens to us. He has to listen to us all the time.
Sure does.
For all these games.
Yep, it's true.
Man, not even the viewers do that.
No, no one does.
Yeah, I know. I don't listen to us half the time.
Nope, definitely not.
Nope.
Like if I hear John Finch on a cast, do you think I'm keeping that audio on? What's up?
In goes Jamal looking for the ult, but he didn't find the hit. He will find the Acons afterwards. And that brings down Coast before he can even get his relics available. And his rewind off. The Waxing Moon was good, but Christo is divine. 9 kills in a row for that Jing Wei. Undying so far. Zoro with the Ghost. Exorcism good and Colossal. Switch was around, I felt there. As he comes back into play again, Christo with the airstrike won't find the kill. Phoenix on the left-hand side does go down. 2-for-1 exchange. Still works out for Jellyfish, but the Frenzy was just popped.
Gilchristo just got one shot. Great job finally shutting him down. And that might be enough to save the mid-Phoenix.
Switch is zoning away too on this left-hand side. He's tanky enough, but he won't be able to find a kill here on his own. He's getting no support at all. Just needs to be a little bit more careful there. And meanwhile, in mid, Colossal will defend. Worked out well for Dobbos. Jellyfish kind of hung around after that Phoenix going for more kills when it wasn't really there. They could have just swung mid.
Exactly. You just go mid, go the safer path, or whatever, however you want to do it. There's a million different ways that Jellyfish could have played that better, but end up getting a little bit too ahead of themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Understandable. I mean, they've been in control for the last 15+ minutes.
Shouts to Dobbos Disciples and the minions. As you see, Doug was way ahead of the schedule too, showing that tier 2 tower falling. Man, we don't need us. We could just have Doug do it. His cameraman's good enough. He doesn't need casting anymore, right? Shows you everything.
Some calming music underneath.
Should we go and have a cup of tea?
Yeah.
All right. Back in a minute. Sugar? Hey, Bill.
Milk for tea?
Where's the biscuits?
We're in Georgia.
There's no biscuits in Georgia? Like cookies then.
Oh yeah, we got those. Maybe biscuits and gravy?
That's nasty.
Can I talk with my mic down yet or no?
Sure.
Hey, what's up, man?
What, you didn't want to keep going?
No, I was done with that bit for sure.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. It had run its course.
I mean, we were waiting for the next fire giant to spawn anyway. Everyone was in base. We didn't miss anything.
No, we really didn't.
20-11, 38 minutes in the game. Jellyfish in the lead for quite a considerable amount of time there. They just bit off more than they could chew at that middle Phoenix area moments ago, which saw Gilchristo die for his first time this game. But there's still no confidence in Dobbos to try and defend this right-hand side of the map at the moment, so they're going to lose a Pyromancer. However, they're sending 2 members to this left-hand tier 2 tower. Dobson's on the way to join Vaporish Coast, but I'm surprised they're both backing up. Probably a little bit worried about the Fire Giant respawn. I guess they don't have the correct timer on when it's due up.
Well, they should have timer. They can see the meteor coming down. You're either defending fire or you aren't. And Gilchristo backing to make sure that tier 2 doesn't go down is a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
To me, it's really not super worth his time, but make sure he knows exactly where Dobbos' disciples are. And it looks like Dobbos, with that wave all the way pushed up on the left-hand side, do seem interested in fighting on fire.
And I think the longer this fight takes here, the more those fire minions on the left-hand side will push in. So Jellyfish should just try and delay as long as possible on this. Oh, Coast lost half his health. Nice work from Viz there on this Merlin. He's having a solid performance on this.
He is. Both backliners from Team Jellyfish have played very, very well. And anytime that's happening, it's because your front line's doing a good job too.
Well, here we go. Fire Giant started up, but only to try and bring in Dobbos a little bit closer. Switch eats a bit of poke, but surges back towards his teammates. Left-hand Phoenix is respawning soon, but Fire Minion's still there. Viz with a good Blizzard Storm is going to destroy Coast, who didn't rewind again. Beads were on cooldown, however, so didn't really get the CC chain away. And now ColossxI has to ult, but walks straight into Gilchristo, and he'll get credit with the kill. 40 minutes in, left-hand Phoenix coming up. They could look for Phoenixes. They can't decide
Boys,
what they want to do. Fire Giant, Phoenix mid.
Maybe we push left Phoenix to just respawn with a fire wave and maybe end the game because we have a 5v3. That seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah, I think that's what the conversation was. You just shortened it down, you know?
Yeah.
A few seconds less. Left-hand Phoenix then, all over here comes Jellyfish. No ultimates really, Battenberg still has his, but no blink to go in. So Zoro going to tank this up, minions come on through, and this could be a 5-on-5, or 5-on-3 as you were saying, up against the Titan. Does the Titan class as a character, you reckon? Like half a god?
With two Phoenixes, yeah.
Like a silver 2 player?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Frenzy pops over OverPoweredUSB, needs to get away as quick as possible. Gets a good shell off on himself, at least got the waxing moon. But it won't stop the tail of the tape. Game 1 is going to go to Jellyfish here, as Dobbos' disciples bite off more than they could chew throughout the game. Good performance.
Very impressive from Team Jellyfish, and it really was those 2 backliners, Viz and Gilchristo, putting out a ton of damage. But you need your frontliners to be doing their job if that's going to be the case. Really, I think ColossxI's Najah pick did not work for me. He needs to do a better job of getting something that can actually pressure these backliners. Coast had a couple fights where he ended up getting 1 shot, but it's kind of difficult to not get 1 shot when you've got Gilchristo with that much crit and damage.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think ColossxI had a lot of pressure on him that game as well, really. He had to be the only one to get in on that Jing wave, but just couldn't find the window, and instead took 30k damage for the pleasure. Damage numbers coming up, 32,000 there for Gilchristo with that crit build, the highest on the other team as well. Kind of evened out between Dobson and Vaporish Coast, which shows at least the damage dealers on that team are equal now.
I mean, Dobbos had such a good lead around Coast early on, but Gilchristo was matching it, and that's the big thing. And now, I mean, this is kind of the worst matchup for Dobbos, because normally you want to give the ball to Coast, your best player, let him kind of take it. But Gilchristo is the strongest player on Jellyfish right now, and so they're matching strength for strength. It's going to be up to the other 4 on each side to determine the victor.
The Jellyfish are up 1-0. We'll be back after the break for game number 2.
Respawn, the official gaming share of the SMITE Console League.
Welcome back to the SMITE Console League. We're already one game down as Jellyfish take out Dobbos Disciples in game number 1. But it's a best of 3 series, so we've got another game at least to bring you. Ryan's on the desk with me to break down this wonderful game as we head our way into picks and bats.
And look, I think Dobbos is still in a really good spot overall. I mean, yes, Jellyfish played very well, but if I'm on Dobbos Disciples, I'm taking Viz off the Merlin. I'm getting Colossal something that dives Gilchristo a little bit better. And immediately I would feel a lot better about our chances.
Let's see what happens with Dobbos and picks and bans then, and see what they decide to switch up this time around. First of all, there will be first pick here, and have the option of what they want to select first. It was interesting because I believe Jellyfish picked up Zhong first pick, which, as we were saying, we don't see too much of these days.
But Zoro played very well, so maybe it's worth banning it against them. Dobbos immediately banned Set, tells me immediately that Dobbos don't have a Set player. That's information that I think a lot of teams should be using is, you know, if you're in first pick and you're banning Set, Isis, or Persephone, especially early on, then that tells me that I don't really need to ban it against you either.
Persephone banned by Dobbos there. I'm guessing the next ban's going to be Isis, right?
That would be very surprising to me. But, I mean, at this point, Jellyfish can ban Isis and not really lose anything in the picks and bans round. Seems like a very honest game that Dobbos is willing to play by banning Set and Persephone first 2. Instead, they can. I think they could have done a much better job of dictating exactly what Jellyfish get to play and where.
And a lot of people do overestimate that sometimes of how important picks and bans can be in terms of what you're giving away to the opposition team. Tough band away though, and it's now over to Dobbos Disciples to decide what they want as their first pick option here. Chronos is available again if they want to go back to it.
Could be. I'm taking Merlin here if I'm Dobbos Disciples. Try and take it away. Same thing with Jing, I suppose. Take it away from Gilchristo. I've got no problem with this. Still think I would have rather seen a Merlin selection, because now Jellyfish get Thor and Merlin. That seems like a very, very potent mid 3v3 that's starting to build for them already.
Yeah, I probably would definitely give Viz that Merlin again if I could. But they're going to go over Ratatoskr, which tells me one of those is laning. Unless it's double jungle, which is technically what the supports do anyway.
Yeah, I suppose so. No, I imagine that's going to be Thor solo here for Jellyfish, and Zoro will probably take that into the short lane. But listen, man, Thor solo looks really, really good if you're solo ritual, and not nearly as good for almost anybody else on the planet. I mean, it's so risky. It has such a big fail rate, and your benefit is not that much bigger than taking like Osiris, and you can't mess up Osiris. You know.
I was kind of hoping they'd go for Athena and then go for like Apollo and Chernobog, and then just have the whole dunk squad.
Okay, that could have been good. Yeah, I could have messed with that.
Instead, we get to see the Sol instead. Super safe pick for the most part. Is that going to be against the Jingwei we expect, or Merlin? I mean, they both
could be
the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd expect most likely mid lane if I had to guess, but could certainly be over there in the long lane. Gilchristo, it kind of bursting onto the scene a little bit later. Don't really know his god pool very well, so I think it could go either way. It's fine both places.
Susanoo and King Arthur banned by Jellyfish. Obviously, King Arthur's always in there causing problems, and Hercules more than likely played in the support role most of the time just lately. There's that Chernobog ban. Dobbo smelled it. See, they heard me.
Yeah, there it is. The dunk squad was coming.
Deal with it. Makes sense.
Smart play by them. I mean, Jellyfish go with the Kumbhakarna yet again. I've got no problem with this selection. Just seems like a pick that you can basically put anywhere and just annoy the opposition. It's what Kumbhakarna does best.
He's also not a bad matchup against Hercules overall. He kind of goes both ways, and actually he's pretty good at shutting down Osiris sometimes too, just in giving a bit of separation from those tethers more than anything else. So Osiris versus more than like Thor, we think, in the solo lane here. It's definitely a matchup Osiris will be bullying, unless there's some Wukong.
So Colossal probably going to be on Wukong jungle? And it gets to the backline okay, I suppose.
We did get buffed.
He did get buffed.
It's a good buff.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's enough to see him in jungle. I'm down to see him a little bit in solo lane. I don't love Wukong jungle. I know layers makes it work for Xbox NA. Kind of like solo ritual Thor solo. I've seen one player prove it to me, but one player who's really, really good, being good at that pick is not enough to make me feel like everyone can play it.
Well, let's get it over to the casters for picks and bans. It's Hindu Man and Aggro standing by.
Hindu Man, thank you very much. Aggro here with Hindu Man on the cast for Dobbos Disciples up against Team Jellyfish. And it will be Viz on the Hachiman. I know the guys on the desk were talking about where this soul was going to go.
Gotta say, those guys on the desk did a really good job of breaking down what happened in Game 1. I'm very thankful to them, too. As always, Doug will be along with us for the rest. Well, the guys on the desk, yeah, for sure. They really put in a lot of effort in that first breakdown
Certainly
section.
More than we did, that's for sure.
Oof. Yeah, not me. That's exactly how I feel about the day in tow. Speed buff not being invaded by either side this time. But look at that. It's not Viz on the Hachiman mid lane this game. And he's going to start off with the Kumbhakarna doing speed buff as JammelTheCammel was positioned over at this red buff instead. And Switch, I don't know if he saw that. I think he just walked past it and missed it. Or he didn't. He did see it and decided to invade with Switch instead.
Maybe because Jammel had the full acorn that he didn't want to try and contest it, but I don't know. Hercules, some of the best clear and buff secure in the entire game. If Switch just goes straight to him, that's so good. As Coast ends up getting first blooded, that is a worst case scenario for Dobbos Disciples.
We give it to Gilchristo too. They're like, hey, you can't play Jing Wei. You were too good at it last game. We're going to take it. And he's like, okay, give me first blood on Sol. No problem.
Bad start for Vaporish Coast for sure. Doesn't go with a blessing. Even with that start, wasn't enough to save him overall with the boots rush. I like the idea on Jing Wei in particular, but man, Hunter's Blessing is really good. And I just don't know. I think it's worth 700 gold. I really do.
I found it so strange, these blessing situations. I'm sure tier 2 boots gives you a bit of power, right? And the extra mobility, granted. But sometimes you're forgoing stats. The reason there's a blessing in the game is because it legit blesses you with ridiculous amounts of stats that for the value is insane.
I agree. I think that this argument of, well, we want to get as strong as we can early on is one that I'll buy. It's important for sure. But in Vaporish Coast's case, having the boots rush, unless he can kill Gilchristo on a very safe character, it doesn't seem really worth it to me.
Earthbreaker down, but driving strike still up. The all-in commit is wasted as expected there, as the pressure was good. Just wasn't enough to kill a level 2 Hercules that still had that driving strike up.
But it gets more pressure in this mid lane, ends up being one of those things that Switch doesn't want to sit on his tower line.
You know, next level plays with that from Jellyfish's point of view. If they know the Switch is going to be trying to look for that Earthbreaker, get hit by it.
Yep.
Look to put yourself in that position so he does hit you. So when he uses the driving strike, your whole team's there to follow up. It's that extra level you got to think of sometimes.
Yep, certainly is one of those things you got to keep in mind as Coast.
Oh, the back step, you see that?
Unlucky
Just
for Jammel.
walked out of the way, you can't touch this. And then the Gust comes up too to get away. Nice little play.
Perfect timing, but they're going to need some more help on this red buff as, look at all the boys right here on time. Jammel not even worried about his own speed, instead all about getting Gilchristo ahead. Doesn't even pick, he even picks up the red. Doesn't seem to want speed at all.
I'm liking this Jellyfish team as it stands. Zoro trying to defend his own blue may get invaded on this right-hand side though, because that's where ColossxI's dumped most of his pressure in this early game. Zoro will end up losing it down, given over to overpowered USBs. The right and Harpies both go to Dobbos as well. The gold lead is Jellyfishes, and that's really just the first blood gold so far.
ColossxI might even check speed as Dobson is dead.
Just
eventually.
That was the lot. I'm really surprised that Mr. Battenberg there chose to blink Yawn and then channel Groggy Strike instead of auto attacking.
Hey man,
because that's all it needed.
Yeah, but auto attack, I mean, does less damage than Groggy Strike. That's the thing.
True. Just takes a million years to go off. You know?
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, don't worry about that. So ColossxI does end up finally sealing away the speed, and Jammel's getting a lot done on that left-hand side, but he's leaving up way too much farm on this right. I mean, you cannot spend all of your time over and left. You've got to be clearing your right side jungle, and that's going to cause him to fall behind pretty quickly if he doesn't start to head on over to the right and actually do the jungler's job.
Speaking of warrior junglers at the moment, hang on, Switch gonna drive and strike Jammel into a wall who acorns and tries to dash away, does so at the tail end. The arcane damage was just too early to catch that dash there. Going back to these junglers, with a warrior in the jungle, what is the game plan from a warrior jungler? Is it to try and get as leveled as quick as possible, or are you a facilitator in that position?
A little bit of both. I mean, you definitely want to get levels early on because you want to take it to the mid 3v3 and use your naturally tankier base stats and pretty decent base damage as kind of the leverage to swing it in your favor. The Wukong jungle in particular, I don't think does that super well, but does it okay. It's just really good backline dive and makes it really hard to peel you, which is something that Dobbos is really lacking in Game 1, so I like the idea of it from that angle.
I'm just more interested about, like, normally we see Guardians there, and Guardians Warriors kind of play the same from the jungle to an extent. It's just that Guardians scale better into the late game and more, you know, useful at that stretch, whereas Warriors, they kind of peter off around the mid game.
Agreed, and we've seen these full power Wukong builds, we've seen the Bruiser Wukong builds. I think either can really work. How much damage do you need is usually the question. With a Jingwei and a Merlin, probably don't need that much extra damage coming out of the jungle, but you definitely need at least a little bit. The mid game is where ColossxI is going to need the most damage because Jingwei hasn't really hit her stride yet, neither has Merlin, and so you need that extra little bit of oomph, and that's why I think this Hercules pickup for Switch actually works very well, because he will provide that, even if ColossxI might not.
The front line is going to be a little bit tankier then for Dobbos as this game goes on. Hercules, Osiris, and some Wukong. Don't want to be dealing with that if I can help it. All of them with pretty good poke and sustainability, and Zoro's really feeling the brunt of the pressure at the moment. So his blue buff invaded yet again, and you can see he's completely out of mana here, but wants to stick around for the farm to the best of his ability. But every time you step up to a wave of Osiris, you're going to have a bad time.
Tough lane, man. I mean, you really have to be really comfortable with how long cooldowns are, and you know, what am I maxing? Am I maxing hammer? Am I maxing spin? And if you're not getting any help on blue, which Zoro hasn't, you're going to get abused in that lane. It's not really even a whole lot he can do, I don't think. He needs help on that blue buff, and with Jammel spending so much time over on the left, it's just not happening.
Do you take the tower there, or do you leave it up?
I leave it up. You want to keep him kind of on the hook whenever you're going to blue. And Thor matters a little bit less than a lot of other solo laners because he can just ult or hammer through and actually be able to affect that blue buff fight. I'm going to take it next wave that he backs for sure. I'm not going to leave it up forever, but in that instance, going to get Coup, going to get your own blue buff XP, both of those things are more important than taking that tower at that exact moment.
Especially without a health pool too, because even if you do want to dive it, it only takes a couple of minions and it will fall down, and it's kind of like a fake safety area at that point. Zoro though trying to pressure the wave quick and throws out the wall. Doesn't really stop OverPoweredUSB from doing too much. As now he comes into the wave once more. You can see the mana bar is just slowly dwindling from Zoro with every ability being used there. As Switch trying to defend his own red buff from Jammel here, who escapes the driving strike and the explosive bolts coming out there from Vaporish Coast. But the defense is solid enough for Dobbos for the time being.
So now instead of going for this red buff, it's going to be a blue buff defense, and Zoro probably just made enough noise over there on the right side about how much he needed the blue to the point where Jellyfish respond and help him out.
What do you think that conversation went like?
Can I get my blue buff? Sigh, he's on my blue buff again. I can't do anything, he's on my blue.
Do you say the word sigh to get the point across?
Sometimes, yeah.
You actually say sigh?
Sometimes.
Switch, maybe sign in a minute if he's not careful. Had to use the mitigate wounds early, but it's actually Dobson who got chased in and onwards there by Gilchristo, and the damage out from Jammel and the Stellar Burst was enough to bring him down. Now with that, it's another pick for Jellyfish, who are having a whale of a time at the moment.
Much more of the same from what we saw in Game 1. Sigh, Osiris is hitting me again. Guys, he's going to be really big. Like, you're not going to be able to kill him unless we get my blue. It's a lot of that kind of stuff, for sure.
Just the Dumo picked up again for Dobson in the mid lane. At least a tier 2 version, as it will get upgraded as time goes on. And I like this Dumo for characters like the Merlin, who wants that extra bit of mobility. The other one I've really seen pick this up as well is Morrigan, which has been the go-to there with the Morrigan, right? Instead of it used to be Bombas once upon a time.
Yep, Bombas, Thoth, I think, utilize this item really well. It's about time people started picking up Doomor, man. This item has been too good to go unpurchased for so long. It's expensive, for sure, and that's difficult to sign up for in this current mid lane meta, but has a lot of potential.
Jammel very low on mana here, just used the dash, and Vaporish Coast is actually chasing beautifully here. That was just nicely done. Each hit was guaranteed to connect, and he knew he was going to be in airstrike range as well. Nice clean kill.
That's exactly what you're expecting from Vaporish Coast. I mean, there's a reason we've talked about him all year as a premier player in this entire entire league, as this guy for Dobbos Disciples. Played it perfectly. Nothing else you can do about it.
Former rival member, if remember.
That's
now
right.
He's switched to this team, and rival still go in.
Yeah.
Coast not going to be the case this time round.
No.
Lots to talk over in that league, though, about which team is going to come out on top. Still rival. think it will be for a while.
Phase 1 was close.
Trying to invade this blue buff, surrounded by 2 here, now that Mr. Battenberg's here, but Switch turns up in time, and that's going to force Zoro to ult defensively. Battenberg may need some help, will have his ultimate available if he needs it though. In the jungle, ColossxI still getting aggressive as Zoro jumps onto him, but now Zoro's going to disengage as overpowered USB really is overpowered at this stage as a level 10 Osiris.
He can walk in and 2v1 Zoro.
Yep.
And Trevor easily is. Looks like the ultimate's being used by Jammel. It's enough, even with Gilchristo all the way over here from the long lane. Another early rotation from him, but Jammel now needs to be pretty careful.
He
Blinks
just dash.
up. So he's A-okay.
Or is he? Oh, yep, he's A-okay. A-okay. Call it, see? Go back and forth, though.
Yeah.
Blink for blink. All abilities used. Nothing hit anybody.
For all abilities used and not hitting anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, evens out. Left hand tier 1 goes down for Vaporish Coast. He's low on mana. Will have enough for a dash if he needs it. Instead of just walk away from Gilchristo, who's still far up on the soul, gone for the Pythax piece into what's next on here? Demonic Grip.
Demonic.
Right now?
Yep, it's the cheapest option here. It's a really good power spike, attack speed, power pen, everything you want. It'll be a Telkines after that most likely. You usually see those rings go back to back, and then you'll see just pure power after the fact. By the way, was Even Stevens a thing that you guys said as well?
Yeah.
Or is that an American thing? Okay.
No, Even Stevens was definitely something I've heard of.
Wasn't sure if that's just
I
because
don't know
of
where it
Shia
came from.
LaBeouf.
No, it was before Shia LaBeouf for sure.
That's too bad.
I don't want to admit that, but I kind of already did now, so it's too late. I should have let Shia have that credit, you know.
Yeah, you really should have.
Epic uppercut off the mark from Battenberg as Dobson flickered away. Needs a bit of poke from Gilchristo, but Gilchristo eats more than he bargained for in response. Disapparate now down, Chase could be on, but Blink's still not available for switch. Coast dash in and aggressively boulder off the wall, will ring-a-ling-a-ding-dong and take out Battenberg, who's now in the Sleepy Time passive. Question is, who do they give the kill to? Vaporish Coast steals it away, but Zoro's there to turn it around. Switching his last legs, but Viz in the mid lane rides in with a cavalry charge to pick up the kill, and that's a 1-for-1 support for support. Still though, ColossxI in a bit of danger here. Gilchristo out of mana, it's a bit risky from him. JammelTheCammel chased onto Vaporish Coast and Dobson in the mid lane and splits the difference. At least knocks up Dobson, but won't have any follow-up damage because he's at a tier 2 tower. Red buff being looked at here. ColossxI is here, 3-level lead over Jammel in the jungle. Luckily enough, Viz is there to try and slow this down, but ColossxI says, not today, not in my jungle. Get out, you dirty little rat.
ColossxI's got no cooldowns. I don't think he's ever catching Jammel in this
There's
spot,
no tier 1
especially
tower here.
with Jammel having Blink up. Despite the big deficit, I mean, we saw it earlier on. Jammel spent so much time on this left-hand side, splitting waves, invading buffs, but as a unit, not getting his own farm, and it's really hurt him.
And now the Gold Fury at half health as Vaporish Coast and ColossxI work to whittle it down. Christo may sniff this out in time to get here to try and do something, but not in time to fire the shot. Overpowered USB then hits him with a tether and forces him back. Nice Gold Fury from Dobbos, who now hold a decent lead.
Coast still moving forward to try and steal away this purple buff, and does so successfully. That is awfully risky. No ultimate, no relics for him, but no fear either.
But they don't know that.
Well, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, if they were paying attention.
There's a lot of communication though in a pro level game, in terms of knowing everyone's individual relics, their ultimate timers, trying to keep track of those.
It's harder on console too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you do it? Is it just some dude with a notepad and pen?
No, you trust someone to
Is there a
lock it up.
special app? Someone needs to make an app for Pro League players that clicks a button, right?
God, I would have loved that. That was my job on my team because I wasn't. I mean,
Oh,
Chapo
really?
definitely was not doing that math. You know
Were you
what
on
I
a team
mean?
with Chapo?
Yeah, I was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's true.
Really?
Yep.
How'd it
that is
go?
True. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say we didn't do a whole lot of. We didn't win anything important, but we won some games.
As they always say, if you can't play, coach, and if you can't coach, cast. Wait a second, is it the other way around? It should be, if you can't cast, coach. That's better. There we go.
Yep.
You can cast, so you were right.
Man,
Imagine you as a coach. How would that have gone?
I think pretty well.
Yeah? Yeah.
I mean, you know, it depends on how good my players are. I can't carry them from the coach role.
Wait, you couldn't just take some Diamond 5 scrubs? That's not that hard.
Yeah, I don't know.
Alpha Jackal did it with Rival. Like, come on.
I guess that's true. Yes, I think of Deathwalker as a Diamond 5 player for sure.
I mean, the way he's been playing just lately, it doesn't tell you anything else, right? And he's in mid now, so he probably is a Diamond 5 in mid. There we go. See?
Yeah, you might not be wrong there. They play this week, right?
I think so.
It's either this week or next week.
Yeah, I believe so. It could be an interesting one.
We'll see.
Battenberg under pressure here in the jungle as he yawns away. Groggy Strike avoids the Earthbreaker, but the damage after the fact is going to beat him down. Nobody else is helping him, however, as they're trying to gank Dobson and Vaporish Coast. And it's actually Jammel eating more damage than he bargained for, and Battenberg finally falls in the jungle, and no one on his team heard his screams.
Man, Jammel, way too aggressive. I mean, Dobson is level 12 to his level 9. Coast was there to help him out as well, and I don't really think Dobson needed it. Dobson had that solo kill on lock.
I'm just looking at the schedule real quick. I don't think we get to see PK for a second. I thought it was PK this week. Do they play on Thursday? They do! I'm sorry, production just let me know it is Thursday. Against Luminosity. I mean, is that really a test?
Yeah. LG's been playing well.
That's
There's
true.
a really good measuring stick for both teams. That's going to be a fun game.
Pyromancer will fall to Dobbos as now they've got around a 5k lead. Fire Giant not really looked at yet. But this game's starting to get a little bit discombobulated as there's breakout fights happening everywhere. Zoro got a good ult off on Vaporish, but he didn't really panic or use a relic there. However, that airstrike may have put him in a very tricky position. After landing, he takes more poke from Gilchristo, but Gilchristo, with a nice beads to avoid the driving strike, falls back towards his team. It did cost him his beads, however, which is an important relic.
Should be a mid lane tier 1 is good boulder, does some damage. Jammel actually took a lot.
Colossal round the back line with that charge and Ox form to cause some problems. Just forces Jellyfish away. Respawns coming through, or just reinitiations coming through as Vaporish Coast back from base with that Jing passive comes into play, and he'll dash aggressively once more, looking for the damage on Christo, and actually gets the Aegis after switching his attention elsewhere. Stellar Burst came into play from Christo just to poke down Coast a little bit more, but all the while, Dobbos just keep on marching on, and Treverbatenburg went in, and Mr. Battenberg, I am not impressed with that.
Zoro got knocked up as soon as he blinked in. That's a bit unlucky for the solo lane. Thor as a tier 2 in mid gonna go down in favor of Dobbos Disciples. Jellyfish have definitely lost a little bit of discipline, I would say, this time around.
Viz goes charging in there for a second, trying to dissuade them, but the march is still on from Dobbos to get a tier 2 and take Jamal's life. Zoro's got ult, gonna go to the sky, 3-man option, make it 2. Nice ult from overpowered USB to escape. Colossal different story, couldn't escape from that dire situation. 6-6, but still Dobbos continuing to extend their lead.
Just using the levels they have. That's the real big difference here. It's just the
warrior
XP
mid-game
difference.
stats, right?
It's not even that, to be honest with you. It's a 3-level lead. I mean, yes, it's made worse by those warrior-based stats for sure, but Colossal's put out next to no damage this game. Neither is Jammel. So, to be quite honest with you, it's really been the solo laners and the ADCs who have done the bulk of the damage. Dobson and Viz also contributing a decent amount of their own, but it's the XP lead for Dobbos. 2 levels in solo, 3 levels in jungle, 2 levels in mid, 3 levels in support. And then Coast has a deficit because he's been in more fights than Gilchristo so far. I mean, this has been just a bad farming showing from Jellyfish, and it's really hard to win when your whole team is down by this many levels.
Gold Fury spawning momentarily. Actually going to be a Primal Fury, I should say. Green one will allow them to do a little bit more clear in the jungle and survive a little bit longer against these buffs, specifically the Fire Giant. But can Zoro stop this with a hammer?
Oh, come
he blew me well, can you know?
Come on, bro. I mean, a bad zone job by Switch. He's sitting in the mid lane. Colossal's already there. We don't need 2 people watching that entrance. We need someone watching the only area we don't have warded, which is above the Primal Fury. That's a bad objective to lose for sure.
And now Fire Giant pulled by Dobbos Disciples. They don't have the Primal Fury buff, remember. That's Jellyfish that just got that one. Vaporish Coast does solo Jamal on the right hand. What? From full health?
I don't think he was full health necessarily.
I don't know what it was. He had his ult up and still no secondary relic, so I guess he hadn't based yet, which is slightly strange too, unless he just hit level to have off that wave. Meanwhile, overpowered USB will take down Battenberg and make it a 5 versus 3, potentially at the Fire Giant. Dobbos march on. Gilchristo on the way, switch on zone duty. Viz is in mid lane farming. I guess he doesn't want to try and get involved in this at all, so it's all on Gilchristo, but I don't think he'll be able to do much about this. Fire
Giant will go the way of Dobbos Disciples. That's a tough sequence for Jellyfish all around. I mean, you get given a gift by Dobbos on a bad zone. by that Primal Fury. You're kind of brought back into the game a little bit by that, and then you just
give a gift back. It's like Christmas, you know? It's just an early Christmas gift giving here. They give you a gift, you've got to give them one back, you know? You just balance karma.
That is polite,
yeah.
I suppose.
ColossxI try to, you know, return fire onto Viz here. Viz could be under pressure, Switch dashes in and blinks over the wall. But the beads from Viz used as well as the ultimate. So now Viz is going to be very much in the back foot on this Hachiman here, who's, you know, 203, kept pace with Dobson on this Merlin in the mid lane. I don't think it's had as much of an impact as we would have liked.
No, a little bit more damage than Dobson, but only just caught up because he went and split during that fight while his teammates got picked and Dobbos got fire. Viz was getting some farm. The early Bloodforge, a lot of power, but it's an awful lot of gold, a big investment from him, and now he's a little bit behind in the build because of it, it feels like.
And now 4 members of Dobbos starting to group up on this left-hand side. 5 Giant Emerald, all 5 members, OverPoweredUSB and the Osiris will try and split them up in the mid lane. Jellyfish have a good defensive comp with both Ratatoskr and Thor. They can delay for quite a while by just hovering in the air with these ultimates one after the other.
Switch gonna get locked out though and took quite a bit of damage. That's with him getting a massive heal for mitigate wounds right around the time that he needed it. So certainly got a little bit of a wake-up call right there and understands that he can't just sit in there and take all the damage.
But this is Dobbos not really having much other than this minion wave coming through. Mid lane's pushed out, right side's pushed out. Straight up 5-on-5 with this left-hand Phoenix being forced then by Dobbos. Battenberg got a groggy strike forward, hammer out from Zoro just to throw it for funsies more than anything else and show the angles he's got. Jammel is wrapping around the back, however, and may have an option. Switch rooted in place after the wall connects. Hammer didn't really hit him, hit OverPoweredUSB. Still Jammel hanging around in mid. And Dobbos just slowly getting whittled down in health bars, but they do have FG around their waist, which answers the call when it's required.
Switch gonna find Jammel, but can't zone him ultimately. As Coast taking a lot of damage, gets blocked by the wall. He's dead.
When he lands, he should burst down. Christo credit with a kill. Battenberg cost him his life, or at least his passive. Now it'll be his life. Tail end of the fight, though, you saw Zoro jump into the backline, couldn't find a target. Still going aggressive here, Jellyfish. Needs to be careful. They've taken out the real Phoenix clearer in that Jing way, but now the commit from Dobbos is here. And Zoro is going to fall down because of it. Jammel in the sky, dugs to the backline, but Dobson flickered in to avoid the damage there. Nicely done from him. This Phoenix still under threat.
Dobson going to switch stance, put out a little bit more damage, but doesn't find a home with the flashlight, so they're going to back it up. Left side Phoenix Siege, not going to work any longer, not without Coast in tow.
I will say that you didn't tell the story of the script, though. When you said it was going to be 2-0 Dobbos Disciples, I'm excited by that. I want a Game 3.
Yeah?
I really enjoy casting Xbox Europe. It's so fun and exhilarating to actually see all these players in action day in, day out, and just see the levels they've evolved to, you know? I mean, this is 2 versus 3. It's a close encounter. It's great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, it's been a good match so far, and it looks like we might get a Game 3, but I don't know,
so.
Graham. I mean, Jellyfish, a pretty staunch defense on that left side Phoenix, and Dobbos Disciples has not shown me that their objective control is particularly strong yet today. But, I mean, if that's going to happen, if we're going to see a 2-0 sweep here for Jellyfish, the boys have got to get some levels. I mean, you cannot be level 14 as a jungler or level 15 as a soul laner 22 minutes in. It's just not good enough.
They're looking for a pick here around the Oni Fury. Jammel presenting himself to Switch. Switch not really interested because he senses something's off because that's a level 15 jungler and he's level 15 support. So if anything's going on here, if he's not farming, what is he doing? Setting up a trap.
Lying in wait for sure with the rest of his squad. Oni Fury this time will not be stolen. Feel pretty confident in that assessment. Dobbos get that one. Fire Giant coming up in about 45 seconds. That's perfect timing. That's going to put some pressure on that left side Phoenix. Going to put pressure on the right side tier 2 if Dobbos can start to push out that wave. Though it is pretty deep on their side of the map as it stands. That is the right way to go around these Fire Giant sieges. Go for that Oni Fury.
I was going to say, is it worth pushing the minions in instead of just going for a Fire Giant straight away? Let the minions just slowly neander up?
I mean, yeah, you definitely want to push this right side wave in particular. But it only takes one person. It's not Trevor to go over and clear out an Oni wave. It'll take him an extra second or two, but even the level 16 Rat got the job done pretty quickly.
Well, you got to level off this wave so far. We'll get a tier 1 tower on this left-hand side as everybody on Dobbos now over towards the Fire Giant. Do we look for a defensive Jellyfish here? I think you do. You've got 2 global presences and, well, Ratatoskr is not really there.
No, I don't, because Dobbos has no real good way to engage, and we saw that on that left side Phoenix. How does this composition really engage you? It's by Switch finding an Earthbreaker and bringing someone to them, and he hasn't done it yet. Really, he's only hit 1 or 2 all game, so why gift them an engagement on that Fire Giant? Force them to come to you. That's the right call.
Jamal forced to base a little bit earlier on than intended to there. He would have liked the tier 2 tower, but realized Dobbos were going to be at the Phoenix line a little bit earlier. USB jumps to the back with his ultimate on Gilchristo, but Gilchristo avoids the damage, and now he's turning around the fire. Jamal on the backside didn't find the ultimate on a target, neither did Zoro there, but they did at least force Vaporish Coast out with the damage after the dunks. Now the Phoenix Siege is still solid and holding nicely from Jellyfish. This is Dobbos forcing it again without having minions pushed up.
Dobson did a great job that fight because Coast was focused out. Kind of like what I was saying in game 1, where if they're going to dump everything into one of your characters, you need your other backliner to kind of pick up that load and deal a lot of the heavy lifting. And Dobson did that team fight. Got Aegis from both Viz and Gilchristo and was dealing relevant damage all at the same time. Might make it easier for Dobbos to get this Phoenix now.
Switches a little bit far forward here for no real reason other than to take a bit of poke, looking just to try and pressure out some relics if possible. Gilchristo's relics are on cooldown for a while now on this Soul. Dobbos haven't given up the pressure, however. They're starting to pressure mid a little bit more. Colossal split pushing in mid. Going to force Jamal over there and create a 4v4 in this right-hand one. Vaporish getting a bit of free time in the Phoenix for a moment or two. But with no minions, it takes a bit of a beating to bring it down. Zoro going to ult after landing the wall on Vaporish Coast and look to dunk onto his own teammate. Didn't really find anything of that, but overpowered USB getting very low, as is Switch. One more shot will do it, but it cost Gilchristo his life as they all grouped up. The arcane power from the Merlin came through when needed.
Dobson exactly where he needs to be, still putting out damage as finally that right side Phoenix falls. Overpowered USB really just jamming ultimates on top of Gilchristo that team fight. Didn't really find a whole lot of them, but Zoro even more off the mark, I would say. This Thor solo has put out a lot of damage and feel like very little of it has been actually effective.
It was very strange when you think about Jellyfish's comp. They first picked Thor Rat, right? They were the first 2 picks, so they already gave the game away what they wanted to do. It's not worked out as intended. Osiris just walked on and went, thank you very much. I'll take this lane matchup and have a good performance at 4-0-3 for overpowered USB. Phoenix is slowly whittling down. Jamal is wrapping around the back. His Acorns hit a couple of different targets there. Vaporish airstrikes in. That sets Dobson up for a kill with the Flames of Death. But on landing, Jamal will get credit for the kill on Vaporish Coast. Middle Phoenix is still alive. Jamal is still alive. Treverbatenburg is still alive. But for how long?
Gilchristo does respawn to watch his support take a little nap underneath that Phoenix. Sometimes I wish that I could just pass out like that, you know, instantly. Like right now, if I was like, hey, Graham, you want to cover this like back and they'll buy real quick and I'll just pass out real quick and take a nap.
So, you know, I micro-sleep during the times that you talk, so I didn't hear anything you had to say then, but it gets me through the day. What were you saying?
Where did you learn to micro-sleep?
School. Pretty much.
Was
School
there a class,
in the 80s.
or?
The late 80s is where I learned it, for the most part. Yeah.
Man, I just missed finding out then. That's too bad.
Yeah, just past that.
You think they're going to reintroduce a class on that anytime soon?
Sorry, what? Micro-sleeping, what are you saying?
It's fine, man. Forget about it.
Okay.
Seriously, dude, forget.
12-9, 27 minutes in. Dobbos looking to take this to a 3rd game with only 13k differential, and the levels and experience still matter in here. Only one member of Jellyfish is actually level 20 at nearly 28 minutes in the game. I hate to see it.
You have to actively run away from farm for that to happen. It requires you to not want it.
If you
it's like going to an Italian grandmother's house and not getting food. Like, you're going to be assaulted with it. You have to actively run away from it if you don't want it.
The amount of no thanks you have to say at that point, you might as well just accept something.
Are you still hungry?
Right? No,
I just made this.
No, I'm okay.
No, please. You're growing. You need to eat something.
I ate before I came.
No. But that wasn't my food. You should be eating this. This is good food. You should have some.
Okay, just a slice.
And then a massive portion.
A blooming cake the size of A Christmas one. Vaporeage goes forced to airstrike away as the Pyromancer contested by Jellyfish here. This is all over a Pyromancer at the moment, but Jammel got the kill on Coast, and that's pretty big. Now he's looking at Dobson. Great stun onto Dobson, but Dobson returned so much damage Jammel wasn't bargaining for, and Switch turned up to help out towards the tail end. 1 for 1 so far, but the health bars of Jellyfish is getting lower, and a Jingu bang from ColossxI secures Biz's life.
Switch with a great pluck onto Gilchristo, trying to get into the Zapparate. Might be able to do it? No.
How did Juke and Jingu bang? I don't even know that was possible. Zoro needs a hammer, but a good driving strike from Switch will say, you can look at it, but you can't get to it. And now with that, Dobbos march towards the right-hand Phoenix that's respawning in about 25 seconds time, give or take. I don't think they're waiting for that, though. They're going to march on in. Quick yawn from Trevor to make him a little bit sleepy. But Dobson's in with the Flames of Justice, as I'm going to call them now, to end game number 2. We're tied up at 1-1.
Dobson hard carried that team fight, man. I mean, Coast gets picked early on. Dobson kills Jammel, walks up, helps kill Gilchristo, helps kill Zoro. Really good fight from him. And really, Merlin Jingwei seems to be the combo so far today. 1 game 1 for Team Jellyfish. Now has 1 game 2 for Dobbos.
Did Jingwei in game 2 really have as a fruitful game as Christo did in game 1?
Not even close.
No, more of a team effort, I'd say. Some picks and bans were very much all over the place from both teams there. So a little look back at the scorecards and see OverPoweredUSB undying on the Osiris.
Yeah, that was the big one.
Be surprised by the comp that he was up against.
That was the big one. It was really USB and Dobson that did it for me that game. Switch was effective sometimes, really was just a damage sponge for the majority of the game. ColossxI was just there to farm and take Jammel's farm away. Jellyfish got the game in game 1, but it really struggled here in this one to find farm. They've got to pick characters that I think do a better job of absorbing those creeps a little bit better. I'm good on Thor solo from Zoro. Pick something else. It's time.
Didn't really work out for them there, but we're now all tied up. 1 more game to come. Who's going to win the console European game this week? We'll find out right after this.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the SMITE Console League.
What's up, guys? Titan Isaiah here, and I've got some huge news. Cross-platform play for SMITE is coming to PlayStation 4. Starting with the Odyssey Underworld update, PS4 players will be able to play with and against players from across all SMITE platforms. At launch, cross-progression and cross-monetization will not be supported. We're still working with our friends over at Sony on this, and we'll be sure to provide more updates in the future. This is a huge milestone for SMITE, and we can't wait to welcome PS4 players into our cross-play family. For more information, head over to highresstudios.com/crossplay. We'll see you on the battleground.
The darkness threatened to overcome our light. But a glimmer of hope escaped the shadows of the underworld. The messenger arrived here at the Ogun River, my home. I will not abandon those in need. The waters are patient and cleansing. My allies will know the strength of the tides, and our enemies will fear the flood.
Welcome back to the SEL. We're almost halfway through the day, and now we've got Dobbos versus Jellyfish. One more game to go between these two. Joining me to do the picks and ban section from the desk is the one and only Aggro, also known as Ryan Bailey.
That's me, both of those.
How's it going, Ryan?
It's going pretty well. I mean, this has been a fun set to watch. Both teams have played pretty well so far. I think that Jellyfish certainly have a little bit more to work on. We saw them have a pretty explosive game one. If they don't get off to those fast starts, they've got to find a better way to stay in the game, stay relevant, stay farming, because they really struggle with that in game two. I'm
hoping for picks and bans they have a gentleman's agreement to give each other Persephone, Isis, and Set, so we could have a bit more fun.
You think that'll happen?
You know when games don't matter as much anymore, like when the end of the season comes and you can't qualify?
Sure.
What we should have happen is that they have to use the same rosters, and we just have mirror matches.
So that would be really not fun to cast. What do you mean?
Two Persephones against each other? What are you talking about? There'd be planets everywhere. They'd have fun.
No, that sounds the exact opposite of fun to me. I don't want that. I would rather much. I'm down to say you have to play Persephone, or you can't. No bans. You just have to pass all your bans.
Just no bans.
I'm down with that.
What's more important than if there was no bans? Is first pick more important or second pick more important?
I guess second pick, right? Probably second pick.
Is it though?
Well, it depends on if you think there's a big gap between the best god and the next two. And then I guess it also depends on how strong the fourth god is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because then,
That's a real debate, that one, actually. Huh.
I think right now I'd rather have second pick. Because you get, I guess you get, if your first pick, you get either Isis or Persephone or Set, and then Thor.
We got Persephone right now. First pick Persephone, right?
No.
Then they go Isis, Set, and then you go Kumbhakarna.
No, if I'm them, I think I go Set. Because then are they going to take Isis and Persephone? Probably not. You roll the dice, You try and give them both gods that fill the same role.
That's the most logical thing you've said this year. Well done. Zhong, the first selection for Jellyfish here. This is a throwback to game one, funny enough. That's why they picked that. But Dobbos this time, going to lock in the Osiris. Did they run Osiris against last time? I don't believe so. No, it was Chang'e.
It was Chang'e, and I love this. I mean, USB was a real non-factor in that game. Now you just give him the Osiris. He basically hard carried last game alongside Dobson. Give him these two picks. Let him roll, man. I mean, just let him dominate that lane. I like Dobbos Disciples' first few selections here a lot.
Can I just say real quick as well how nice it is to have a desk to cast around?
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah, we
got this.
Sit here, the Old Faithful.
Old Faithful. I mean, it's not Old Faithful. We've had about 7 desks.
Well,
we're going to talk about the chairs, but they're not the same anymore either.
No. I do miss the old chairs, I will say.
Still got the couch set and the casual set. Maybe we'll cast from the casual set tomorrow. Who finds out? Merlin, Ratatoskr, Chronos are the selections so far. Chronos to join for Dobbos again. Vapoishko's played it in game one. There's a Jing wave ban already come through here. So no chance this time for Christo to get hold of that.
I'm very surprised that Jellyfish is able to get the Merlin, though. I mean, Viz looked very good on this. So did Dobson. I mean,
surprised he took it in game two, though.
Just give it to him. I agree with you. But overall, if I'm Dobbos, I would have loved to see Thor go back over to Zoro in that soul lane, or maybe to Jammel. He's been playing nothing but Ratatoskr. I think I would have gone Osiris Merlin. Osiris Thor is certainly good, but you're giving Viz a pick that he looked very, very comfortable on, and so did Dobson. You could have had the same level of success that he had in game two.
I'm interested in what Mr. Battenberg will play this game, as Kumbhakarna has been taken away. Horus is still up and available, I believe. It could be a possibility, but Dobbo's going to go with Terror this game. I think she definitely comes in and out of the meta, but she's always consistent.
Still really good. Really good against Zhong in particular. Very difficult for him to get away from that massive root. Bacchus is an interesting one and can bring a lot of burst potential. Coast struggled in the late game a little bit in game one when he was playing the Chronos on getting rewinds off when he needed to in the late game. I don't mind it. I also don't mind this Hou Yi pick here for Gilchristo. Give the man something he can make some plays on and let him go make plays. I like it.
Agreed. I actually like the Hou Yi ult against this comp too, because it's a whole dive squad out of Dobbos here. They're all in. The whole team.
So is it Chronos mid, Susano ADC for Coast? Coast has played Susano ADC recently.
I guess Hou Yi is pretty good.
Against Hou Yi, it's pretty good. That's what it looks like to me. I like the idea, but man, Chronos mid is not my favorite, to say the least.
Let's find out and get it over to the casters once more. It's Aggro standing by.
Hey man, I'm still right here on like next to you on the desk. We were just talking about it.
It's that thing of like every time we go to that screen, I've got to throw it to casters. It's a habit, and OverPoweredUSB didn't get the memo that grouping up on his own in the jungle is not going to be a good thing. He gets brought down early, first blood for Jellyfish, and if they steal the speed, it gets worse. They won't, however, so it's not completely out of hand. Did cost teleport on OverPoweredUSB, however, but that won't be too bad. 2 minutes to last. 3, I should say.
So Coast does take the Susano into the long lane. I like the idea of these assassins over here. I think it's a potent strategy. Unlucky.
That's a potent strategy, let's just put it that way.
How so?
You lure them into a false sense of security. If in doubt, fall back to voice pack lines.
Okay.
Give me one of yours.
Unfortunate, really. Get it? Like the Ron Jobbert announcer pack.
I thought that was going to be the line you said, and I think you had to think about it for a second. But
I'm
glad you chose it.
I was
How
like,
did it go
what
again?
do I say in that?
Blue buff being looked at and tried to be stripped away, but OverPoweredUSB says no. And now the level 1 JammelTheCammel is back in the fountain. Zoro is trying to do what he can.
He's dead.
He got juked out. Exorcism helps him out, as will the minions a little bit. Run, Zhong, run! As fast as your legs can take you until you hit a wall. Zoro's going to fall down. Card, Exorcism heals back up. Oh, he's a beast! The Man Mountain in the solo lane. Why do they keep juking?
I don't know. He's dead no matter what he does there, I think. I mean, I guess you got to make USB hit the sickle.
Yeah.
By going straight, but that's an unsuccessful invade, to put it mildly.
Dobson's burning, not by choice, and this could be a lot more pressure onto him. Did go for the stun, Viz can avoid that. However, the blue buff is being looked at on this side as teleport came back through from Zoro. Man fight in the jungle, and Viz gives him the biz. Dobson falls down. Treverbatenburg steps up on the backers too, and it's 3-2. It's a cluster all over the map.
What is happening right now? I don't know what just happened, Graham. I was so confused by.
Did you micro sleep?
I did.
You missed a lot.
Yeah, maybe it was all a dream. That's what I can assume, because what I thought I saw was very weird. I mean, why are we going for a blue buff invade when we know Zoro is going to be able to teleport back in? There's a 4-man rotation, it feels like, over there. Then there's a 1v1.
That 1v1 was interesting.
By right side mid Harpies, where Dobson whiffs stop time by a country mile, and Viz still slams the beads. I don't know. That was odd.
Oh, that card was close from Zoro, but not close enough. Jammel is trying to gank this, potentially. The blue buff is spawning momentarily on this right-hand side, so this hanging around will pay dividends eventually, but the bad news is Switch is now on the rotation too. Zoro's card placement hasn't been the greatest so far, and he may need that card up again soon with the buff spawning. Jammel going to go in with the Acorn. Yummy, but yummy enough for Overpowered to eat it, and now Zoro under pressure. Have to be careful of the Exorcism, and card does OverPoweredUSB, so he falls back. Pressure's relieved, blue buff secured as Colossal rotates in, and Zoro continues to farm up, but he's now out of mana.
Just watching that little interaction, the deficit that Jim has.
Oh!
Agreed.
Oh!
Agreed. Across the board. Well said, Graham, and frankly, I don't think I could add more analysis if I wanted to.
It's probably the best piece of casting I've done all year, if I'm honest, and it was exactly accurate for the situation that we just watched. Get outplayed, Vaporish Coast. That is not an easy task, in all honesty, for a hunter to outplay an assassin at that level.
Colossal's in trouble here. Yo, Trevor should adjust his Y-axis sensitivity. That's the recommendation from me.
Trevor's okay with this. I mean, now he might not be, because without his flop, he's going to have a hard time getting away from OverPoweredUSB. But to be honest, even if you miss it, he's still got the beads. Think about that. He's still got the beads. He did his job.
Okay, I've thought about it.
He was going to get the kill.
I've decided that I think I'd rather land my belly flops than miss them.
I would rather get the beads. Because I'm not going to kill him there, am I? But if I can get his beads, it means that he might not get aggressive later, or we can kill him later on when I've got teammates around.
Do you think he wouldn't have beads if I hit the flop? Is that the...
Yeah, because when you're in the air, it doesn't matter anyway, because, you know, beads don't affect knockups if you're already in the air.
Right, right. Maybe a little belch would have helped?
Yeah, but you do that later. You get the beads first with the flop, and then the fake flop, and then you belch on him, the beads wears off, and you get the stun. It's genius.
But wouldn't that also... Okay. No, you know what? You've convinced me, and missing the flop was objectively the right move. I'm there now.
I don't really necessarily believe that. I'm just a caster and try and make excuses for...
Nope, you convinced me, man.
Screen,
that was your argument, and you argued very well.
Neat. That's the first time I've won one of those.
Yep, nicely done.
Oh, it was over
Catch me missing my abilities left and right.
On stream. Twitch.tv/aggro, right?
That's right.
See, I'll advertise you up. Subscribe. Oh, is September still on?
Yeah?
Yeah, September's on. Go subscribe to him.
One more day.
He'll help you out on his mid lane / complaints.
That's what I've got.
Yeah.
Coast got red buff now, so maybe he can end up getting a solo kill, but he's got a little bit of a deficit.
I mean, Coast has got to pull something fancy out now to get me to answer back for what I just saw Gilchristo do to him. Because he just bopped him.
Well, he definitely outplayed him.
He got bopped. If that was at Worlds, I probably would have lost my voice.
That was real nice. What Gilchristo was putting down before. And it's going to take him a little bit to hit another big power spike. He rushed the boots, so he's strong right now. Probably going to be a Devos after the fact, so he's got a good period of downtime now where he's not getting a whole lot stronger very quickly. And this is Coast's opportunity, especially once he finishes that Mage's Blessing. Get a little bit of extra CDR so that you don't feel as bad committing abilities. Play aggressively.
I actually think that was the best top play I've seen out of console in a while.
That's nice.
That's on the list of probably top takes of the year. JammelTheCammel needs a bit more help and gets it from the card out of Zoro that connects this time and whittles down ColossxI's health bar. OverPoweredUSB searching around for the scraps and the Osiris as always. Won't be able to find the blue buff unfortunately. Zoro already has that around his waist. The gold's still even between the two. Experience is where it really matters at the moment. I've not really felt Switch has been involved too much outside of the starting block, but he is still ahead in experience as Gilchristo feeling himself a little bit more. Is starting to really put pressure onto Coast. Nice leap over the wall, straight to the ultimate. That's what happens with the beads, you see. When you're knocked up, they don't work. It's unfortunate.
Well, so that's well played by Coast overall right there to get the beads.
He hit the ult, that's why.
Oh, you can't be doing that, right? Can't be doing that. I like the idea from Gilchristo. Yeah. You got to go a little, you got to either pre-beads as soon as you land, or even if he hits, he's got to hit 2 autos on the back end. It's going to be a difficult solo kill, but he chased the ultimate out from Coast. That does mean that Coast has a lot less solo potential as, yo, Jammel, we're giving this one up, homie. You are level 5.
Right in front of Switch? Are we really doing this? Right in front of him? You literally saw... Okay. All right, boys.
I mean,
if he gets the kill...
Yeah, I guess if he hit it. But
if he gets the kill there, he gets, what, 2 levels we were talking about earlier, probably?
But he just relied... Basically, Jammel right there was relying on both Coast and Switch messing up to not get killed. If he gets the kill, then it's worth it, I suppose, because Coast level 9... He's level 5, but you're relying on both players to make mistakes, and luckily for him, they both did.
Colossx coming mid lane, Battenberg and Viz need to be careful. Wall connects, as does another wall that connects. Well, no further follow-up damage than that. Everybody just limps away for the time being. Builds are coming along, though. Vaporish Coast looks like he's going for Transcendence next. Is that the first option?
Always on Susano in the long lane. It just gives you so much power. You just get to stack it really reliably over there. It gives you even more CDR, 20%. It'll be really good for him once he starts to stack it up.
Colossus though trying to trade out in the jungle on the right hand side. There's nothing really up in the jungle to contest. Gold Fury is available though, and Dobbos Disciples have a lot of wall coverage on this left hand side. Looks like they're trying to set up some pressure for this Hou-Yi. That's had a bit of an easier time of things, but still equal level is Vaporish Coast, and looking for a gank situation. You can see by the Susano positioning, he's looking to try and make a play, knowing the beads are down on this Hou-Yi.
Got Gilchristo with that jet stream. Good patience from Gilchristo, but
Suns?
Yeah. Tried to get cheeky with it, lock him in the Suns, get the solo kill, but you've got to use your buttons a little bit earlier than that. Coast able to put the pressure on and make a nice play.
I like the idea of holding the leap, but eventually you do have to do it at some point, and I think that's what the game was. It's like, how long can I wait to use the leap? And in doing so, he just put himself under too much pressure. Good recognition from Vaporish Ghost, actually. To know the beats were still on cooldown, so he was going to have a much easier time of trying to find that kill.
I think that you should just be dropping Suns right away. As soon as he's willing to commit to you like that, as soon as you get wind siphoned, if you drop the Suns, then Coast either has to back it up, and that buys you enough time to use your jet stream. Sick blink by Jammel, but forced because of a sick wall from Switch.
Mr. Battenberg was just trying to get to a wall there to flop towards mid lane, it looked like, but he didn't get there in time. Jammel forced to ult as well, maybe able to defend his own Harpies. No, he'll fall back. Viz goes in though. Secures one or two of those. ColossxI eats more damage than bargained for there. Didn't really enjoy the taste of that. He'll be fine for the time being. Gank successful onto the backers.
Switch has had a pretty impactful game so far on this Terra. Been in the right spots at the right time.
Yeah, that wall was good.
Good beads from Gilchristo. So Coast really forced that in a spot where Gilchristo probably didn't need to use beads. Maybe his dive bomb was already down. We missed that part in the lane. But if Coast, in that situation, you can then just dive bomb run underneath the tower after you get wind siphoned and jet streamed. And there's no way Coast is going to follow you under there if you have Ricochet up. So you probably don't need the beads in that slot, but it's probably just muscle memory. You hear the blink, you hear the wind siphon, you got to use the button.
True. I mean, blink for beads isn't too bad, although blink will be up a little bit earlier, and Christo should know that, so he'll know he's got about another 80 seconds until he's going to be scared for about 20 or 30 before he gets his own beads back up again and be in the same situation. It is level 12 though, so secondary relics will come into play. Expecting an Aegis here, which is something we see more often.
And it'll help him a lot in this lane.
I still want to see more Heavenly Agilities though. I don't know why we don't see him, especially because the haste effect is still there. It's so impactful.
I agree. I mean, I think we could see it here for Trevor in particular. Against the Hou Yi, it's pretty solid, but Switch almost certainly going to go Blink. It's just that Shell's really good, and so is Blink, and so is Frenzy. I mean, Frenzy getting a whole lot. That kind of forced sprint out of the meta, it feels like.
I was going to bring it up is that the Hunters used to get it once upon a time. It used to be sprint and beads.
Yep.
And I think we should be seeing more of that meta again. Aegis is a lot weaker than it used to be these days. Like, was it 1.5 seconds now?
Yeah.
Instead of 2 once upon a time. Its ability and a half at tops, and getting it off in the right situation doesn't always save you. Sprint, though, is more useful to the team as a whole.
Maybe, but...
And Zoom, right?
You really do need it. You need Aegis against a lot of things.
You don't miss seeing like Baron Zap running people down.
Oh, I definitely do.
Like,
especially 30-second cooldown, sprint 3.
I
miss those days for sure.
Right? Gilchristo.
And you want to know why? It's because I mained ADC at that time, because it was OP.
Oh, you are the OP guy on the team, that's true.
Yep.
Vaporish Coast trying to defend or attack this purple. Now going to get dashed on by Cammel, who ate more damage than bargained for and was forced to ult. Great flank from Battenberg, but a good wall came into play too. Suns from Christo did take down Vaporish Coast, and ColossxI escapes with his life. Battenberg might not be so lucky as Dobson on the Chronos from mid comes into play.
Gilchristo making a beeline for a little bit of safety as he's got some people trying to follow him. Drums towards Viz, who can provide him with a little bit of help. Dobson still wants to keep it up.
Dobson going to continue the chase. Christo sidesteps the damage. Red buff looked at. Viz trying to contest that. And won't be able to do, though, so by the looks of it. That drops down. Viz now level 11. Both with Bancrofts in this mid lane.
Dobson going a little bit of a faster start this time around than the Pythags. I think this is the right call. If you're going to be playing Chronos in mid instead of in the long lane, may as well get your power spike a little bit earlier. I think it's a pretty wise decision by the mid laner. As for Viz, don't love Merlin with Bancrofts. Can be really good in fire stance for sure, and burning down these backline divers and the warriors and the junglers, but I don't know. I think things like Doom Orb are a little bit more appealing to me.
Well, with how this game's gone so far, the only real separation is the two junglers, and it's only a 2-level difference at the moment, which is easily caught up. But both these teams definitely have a mid to late game composition, and so I'd say I'm leaning a little bit more towards Dobbos in the very late stages. Although, you know, just because of the Chronos more than anything else there, and Terror always been very, very impactful. Then Jellyfish's mid-game into late isn't the worst either. Hou Yi, Merlin, Zhong will put up some numbers.
Definitely. For me, it really comes down to if Coast can take Viz out of these fights, or Gilchristo. You've got to, with this double assassin sort of composition, you've got to have the capability of one-shotting a backliner because your AoE team fight just really isn't there. Susano covers that weakness more than most assassins. That's why he's the most popular among the assassins going into the long lane right now, because he doesn't provide absolutely no AoE like some other assassins would. But it still is a weakness in the composition that needs to be played around.
Coast is trying to position for another gank attempt onto Gilchristo, but he doesn't know there's a ward right there. Jammel may have just got notice in the jungle of that purple there, so Coast will just go back to the lane. Purple is secured, however, and we see Christo dinging over to level 14, still a level behind that of Coast as it stands. Meanwhile, Viz in the mid lane looks like he's going to go for, what, Spear the Magus is standard?
Spear definitely looks good to me. I mean, you could go Divine here against the Terra. Probably seems okay. Ooh. Maybe Divine's even better.
ColossxI was hoping for a red buff pull there. Didn't really happen. And panics and left. He could have potentially took it away. Guess he was a little bit worried about the flop coming out from Mr. Battenberg there. And now Christo with the mark of the Golden Crow onto the whole We'll look for the ricochets. I always appreciate those. Flop it. That connects. Walls connect, however, from Switch. Nicely placed. Jammel in the sky. A little bit premature from the young jungler there. And that will be a wasted ultimate. But then again, so was ColossxI's moments ago. Zoro still square in this one, and it's probably going to be square till about, let's say, 23 minutes.
Feels like both of these squads seem they're very kind. You know, they're good-natured.
The Europeans, that's what we are.
One, really?
Yeah.
All Europeans, huh?
Every single one.
Wow. What would you say the overarching trait for Americans is then? In the same vein of all Europeans are very kind-hearted, all Americans are blank. Keep in mind you have a green card.
Yeah, that was the issue. Is I'm on a green card and I'm also employed by an American company.
Mm-hmm.
Let me keep thinking on that.
Okay.
Come back to me in a little minute.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, this is game 3.
Yeah.
So Xbox in North America or PS4 in North America is coming
We're casting, like, later on together today, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll have an answer by then, I'm sure. It just takes a bit of thought process, this
okay.
one, you know?
Well, like,
I'm just
what about
find something.
For PS4 North America, like, that's, you know, important as well to have an answer for, I think.
That's true.
So we're just not going to have one, or?
Maybe not.
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't want to lie, that's the issue.
I see.
I'm trying to find something positive. You know how it is. Goal Fury pulled by Dobbos' disciples here at 90% and dwindling. Battenberg comes in, eats a hammer, and that may just dissuade him on his own, but Flop is available, may need to commit soon. Got ultimate up too, but won't invest instead. He gets knocked up, and on the tail end, ColossxI really bursted Viz heavily there, but didn't follow up with the commit, interestingly enough. Guess he was a little bit worried about the relic situation. He did already get the beads out of Viz there, and I think the damage was done based off that.
That's what it looks like when you land the ability and get the beads at the same time. That looks pretty good to me. Good pull by Dobbos' disciples, playing around a big power spike for Vaporish Coast. He just finished off Jotun's Wrath, so that was a time to fight. And looks like Jellyfish do not feel particularly interested in doing just that. Interesting relic pickup here by OverPoweredUSB. Picks up an upgraded Cursed Ankh, and that's on the team with the Terra, not against the Terra. I guess this is because of the Pythags for Zoro and wanting to shut down that a little bit. The Bancrofts there for Viz as well.
Devourer's Gauntlets.
The Devourer's Gauntlets. I don't think it's better than Blink. Here, I'll say that. I think Cursed Ankh is really, really good, but a little bit narrow, and that's fine. Having relics have niche applications is healthy for the game. I think Cursed Ankh's in a great spot. Fantastic against healers, underwhelming every other spot. This feels underwhelming.
Linking from Coast, who gets a bit of alone time with Viz, who has no beads available, but a good shell from Battenberg will not stop the damage out from the ultimate of Coast. Jammel to the sky at level 12, looking to turn this around, but he's very low level for this stage of the fight. Christo comes in with the Suns and drops him on Coast, who falls back, but Jammel's ult is down, and so is his health bar. Now Zoro around the back trying to help out Christo, as the whole goon squad of Dobbos dive to kill the Hunter. Jammel still alive, only momentarily, as Coast gets a double, and now a tier 1 in the mid lane.
I've seen 3 games of it now, Graham. This Ratatoskr with no relic, or no blessing rather, and all 3 games Jammel has been really far behind. Even game 1, when the team was doing well, he wasn't able to create a whole lot of separation with ColossxI. It has been a real problem for Team Jellyfish. Their jungler is just not able to make an impact because he doesn't have the farm. I mean, his player damage is similar. Imagine what would happen if he weren't level 12.
And why is it that you talk about the Assassin's Blessing in that, for the most part? Is that because it
keeps
just
you on the map?
You?
Yeah, it keeps you on the map. It lets you do more damage to the camps. It makes you resustain. It means that you actually get a little bit of penetration when it's done, a little bit of movement speed. It's everything you need as a jungler. A lot of people think the jungler's job is to kill people, and it's wrong. Your jungler's job is to clear the jungle camps. That enables them to kill people, but it's not their main job. And so Jammel is not doing the main part of his job, which is clearing jungle camps quickly and efficiently. And it's something that Ratatoskr does really well, and that's why he probably feels like he can go without the blessing, because he's clearing quickly anyways. But it still could have been that much faster. Maybe old Thor you can go with this strategy against, because he cleared a little bit more slowly as well. Now with the new Berserker's Barrage, ColossxI's able to walk from camp to camp and clear him with ease and be ready for the next fight anyways with a higher degree of farm.
We approach the 20-minute mark. Dobbos' disciples have the fire gen and looking to try and put the pressure on, and catching Zoro in the jungle here because of that wall could be just that. The tether will stun, and now into the sky we see the pressure of Colossal waiting to land, and he goes on Fizz, who's forced to beat defensively. Overpowered will take out Zoro as Jamal was in the pit too, but he's only level 14, we mentioned it earlier. He's going to be very careful about this situation. The switch chases them down, forces the dash back to safety. Tier 2 is down. Jamal still facing towards them, so is forced to use the blink defensively. Disciples with 4 members here. Chronos is the tower killer here for the most part, and the Phoenix killer. They won't look at the Phoenix though. Looks like they're going to head towards this middle tier 2.
Jamel just went from level 12 to level 14 because he got the killing blow on the Vaporish Coast, who's level 20.
That's how you get levels.
That is one way to get levels. He did need a blessing for that one. Ends up putting himself on the board in the kill column and keeping Dobbos' disciples at bay a little bit.
Speed buff being looked at over on this right-hand side by Colossal and Jamel. Meanwhile, they wait for the minions to come into play at this tier 2 tower. Dobson needs to get in on that onto that tower where possible, but a good play with Battenberg dissuades him. He's eating a ton of damage as that Bacchus though and gets blown up before his team can really turn around and find a kill. Dobbos though forced to fall back after that engagement, surprisingly enough. Guess they're a little bit worried about the whole armada of Jellyfish being there.
30 seconds on the respawn for the Fury, so maybe Jellyfish can burn it before Dobbos' disciple is able to get back, but Coast is back on the map. Overpowered USB has teleport up, not upgraded, but there's enough tier 1 towers, all of them, still standing for Dobbos' disciples that he might not need to spend that gold right this minute.
And left-hand Harpies do go down for the time being. Trap being set by Jamel, hoping for somebody to rotate in. Won't be here though. This Fire Giant, as you mentioned, a minute and a half left. Can we look at the last 2 tier 2 towers? Is that what you're really after at this point?
Not a whole lot of time. I think I'm getting, I'm definitely getting Oni Fury and then shoving down mid. You want to let this Oni wave kind of do what you can. Yeah. And so it's tempting, I think, to save Oni for last, wait until you've already cleared everything. But now this means if you spend a lot of time trying to get this mid tier 2, maybe the Oni wave will do your work for you on the right.
And those minions just spawning from base now is that Oni minion wave heading towards the tier 2 tower and Dobbos' disciples side of the map. And we'll see if Jellyfish stick a man on the right hand side. Still looks like that's the case. Jamal's going to stick around for that Oni wave, which means that tier 2 in mid is definitely going to fall down before the Onis even show up there. Question is where do they go now? Well, they may go to try and kill Jamel, who just proxy farmed that wave a little bit.
He's dead.
I don't know why he did that. I get positioning up to try and clear, but now I think he might get pinched because he's not going to get time to clear the whole wave.
Yeah.
Was the ult consumed as well? No, luckily enough, at least he's still got his ult.
No, Coast doesn't need to expend anything at all.
I think I would have let him ult there. Because he would have still picked him in the jungle anyway on his escape path, right? His ult would have been down, he would have died, and then you've got a 4v5 at Phoenix without the Ratatoskr having ult when he respawns.
Yeah, I guess so. You probably could have done that, but you take him off the map, you guarantee tier 2. You don't want to, because if he just goes towards mid, then it's this whole wild goose chase. You don't really want to worry about it. How far could a goose really go, by the way?
It depends if it's wild or not.
Well, it is. It's a wild goose chase.
Oh, you didn't say that bit.
I absolutely
Oh, no,
did.
the original, but then when you went, how far could a goose go? It depends what kind of
I think
goose.
it was implied. I mean, I just said a wild goose chase.
Assuming, though, can definitely make an ass out of you and me, and I don't want that to happen.
Yes,
that happens enough, you know? It doesn't need to happen anymore. I don't know.
I mean, geese can fly, so they're probably pretty far. But, like, how far am I chasing it? And for what reason? That feels like a low-impact animal to chase.
Well, if it's a wild goose chase,
right,
that means it's like it's wild, it's crazy, or it's a free goose.
I just assumed it was like not in captivity goose.
Yeah, that could be it too. There's a lot of different ways to look at it.
Maybe it's like the sport hunting, you know? It's like who can chase this
kill
wild
the goose?
Yeah, I don't think I'm catching it to be friends with it, Graham.
For dinner? Is that what you want it for?
Yeah.
It's not the greatest.
Maybe lunch.
Goose ain't the greatest. Like,
have you eaten goose before?
What's the point? There's chickens everywhere, right? No, I probably haven't eaten goose, I don't think.
Can't imagine it's very good.
I mean, a lot of different, like alligator, kangaroo, I've tried all
I've had alligator. It was really tough and like chewy. It wasn't good.
I miss Sobek, at least saying him. Fire Giant is now about to go down for Dobbos again. Team Jellyfish are just trying to find bits of farm somewhere in the map to catch up in some of these level discrepancies, which are shown in the solo, jungle, mid, and support positions as it stands. But Dobbos are looking solid here after that first game loss to Jellyfish, who looked very good. Dobbos has still got their number, it seems, unless something crazy happens at this Phoenix defense.
Just feels like Jellyfish's team compositions and the way they play is a little bit one-dimensional.
Do you reckon it's like they've got no backbone? They just need to solid that up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that they don't have a whole lot of extra strategies in the bag. That's what it really looks like to me.
Now Vaporish Coast looking for the Phoenix damage, but the minions are already dead. Flopping from Battenberg catches Vaporish Coast, but now he takes a ton more damage than bargained for. Forced to use the ult defensively to try and buy a window, and Overpowered USB decided not to hit the ult to make him feel better about it. And that allowed Christo to get the kill on Overpowered USB. Still, ColossxI is alive with the barest amount of health there on the backside of that fight. Zoro did get a nice card off, and ColossxI will survive. Well, Dobbos can't continue the siege now, so we'll fall back and start discussing gooses once more.
I just have a lot of thoughts on like where these phrases come from, you know?
Like
how
wild
did
goose chase?
Yeah, like wild goose chase. You know the one that always got me? And I'm only doing this because you said that you were going to talk about this kind of stuff.
Oh.
Is when someone agrees with something and you go, and how? Like, how does that make sense? How does that indicate agreeance?
Isn't it like, if you take it, and how? Maybe it's a question, but a confirmation of like, I like it, and how are we going to do it, you know? But instead of just saying, how are we going to do it?
See, I feel like
how.
it's like, you know, Graham, we're going to cast this game, and you're like, and how? You know, you
I would never say that.
Toss a little knee slap in there or something like that.
Like knee slap? I've definitely knee slapped before.
I mean, that seems like the right appropriate instance of it.
This is going to be
weird
a
phrase.
doozy. What does doozy mean? Is it like a barn burner?
Yeah, it's exactly like a barn burner. It's very similar.
What does a barn burner mean?
Something that gets so crazy that the barn gets lit on fire. That's where that I assume that's where that one comes from.
So is that where lit came from? Is because it's a you know, just follow up from barn burner?
Yeah, probably.
Wow. Where words come from, man. It's crazy. You just made up. Zoro under pressure. Great walls there from Switch, honestly, to set this up, and the ultimate used too. And Zoro's going to end up falling down to Switch, and the damage mainly from Vaporish Coast and that Susanoo ultimate. Jammel in the sky with diamonds, looking at the dunk on Vaporish Coast, and will find it. He jumps up a couple more levels and has to bees to try and buy away some time from Dobson, but Dobson doesn't let that happen. ColossxI still with his ultimate was getting some good damage into that middle Phoenix, as the rest of Dobbos now group up on the left-hand side. ColossxI may look for an ult. Walls hit onto Viz, and Viz further back as Overpowered USB tried to walk on in, but he gets slowed down by Battenberg, who eats a ton more damage. The Bacchus will jump away, and Overpowered USB will show his ultimate. Just missed it on purpose to allow ColossxI to confirm his and get the kill. Up down from Christo, that's his best solo laner explanation and impression. Nice little ricochet off the wall there, I like that little play. Will come for naught, however, as will that solo killer Vaporish Coast now. But the middle Phoenix under pressure, and Dobbos are potentially moments away from winning this game.
Zoro is on the respawn, though. I don't know that they can end Graham, and not a lot of minions here. With Zoro coming up, Jammel up in 5 seconds as well. Seems like it's going to be a little bit longer.
Damn, these caster curses just continue to haunt me.
It's true. You'd think after 63 years of casting as you've done, you'd be used to it by now.
I don't have anything because that's just honest truth, you know? That's just the way it is. You're like, yep. Switch, now going a little bit too far. Terrell is still proc, so he's got a bit of sustain. And that exorcism, the range needs to be increased ever so slightly for that to connect next time, but it won't happen this time round. Jellyfish hold their base for now. I think they're can they win if there's a throw at this point? I don't think they can. It'd take 2 throws in a row, I think.
They would need to win 3 team fights.
Respawn to like, what, 45 to 50 seconds at this point, right?
Yeah, probably low 40s.
All tier 2 towers alive still.
Yeah. Yeah, Jellyfish are 2 full 5-for-0 fights in their favor away from winning this game.
I think 4-for-1s that could still do the same impact.
Depends on the one. I mean, if you lose Gilchristo, you're going to lose a lot. You're going to get a lot less.
Agreed.
On the back end. But, I mean, if you lose Jammel, that's fine. He's not doing a whole lot, to be honest with you.
He does at least try and, you know, force a fight at Phoenix line if you get that far. But hey, Fire Giant about to spawn again. It may be an enhanced one. It all depends on whether this clock at the top of your screen gets to 30 minutes or not. How do you feel about the enhanced Fire Giant? Is it as potent as it used to be? Is it still super ridiculously good?
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's difficult to take. Primal Fury does a good job of mitigating that, though. And then you end up with a great buff. Removing backdoor protections is so strong.
Fire Giant started up. JammelTheCammel is round the back. He is level 20 at this point, though, in this Ratatoskr. May cause some problems. Fire Giant actually reset by Dobbos Disciples as Jellyfish are here to contest. And this is a big fight for Jellyfish at this point because there is fire minions pouring down the left and the middle lanes. Vaporish Coast got a bit of time with Christo there. Well-forced situation. Great dunk from Jammel, but I think he's just going to get chased down for the kill as Coast now gets a double kill. Dobson looking for a kill on Zoro and will get it. Now he turns his attention to Battenberg, who gets hit by the Lord of the Afterlife, also known as Osiris, and
Big
Battenberg will hit him down with the meat stick. It's a deicide for Dobbos Disciples. The minions are already doing their damage to the fountain, and this could be the end of the set. Jellyfish put on a good fight today. Still got work to do, however.
Yeah, Jammel in particular, I think, has got to widen the God pool a little bit, learn how to farm a little bit better. That was a big struggle for him today, but certainly a good performance from Team Jellyfish. It really was just Coast doing exactly what you need from him in that last team fight. He's able to find Gilchristo, finds a really good patient teleport in with that jet stream, solos him, then cleans up Viz in the back line. It's the whole idea why you're picking the Susano in the long lane, get him as much farm as possible, and let him go to work in the late game.
And with that, Osiris, Thor, and I believe Susano all top of the player damage for the team of Dobbos at the tail end of that 30-minute game all in all, and this is a little look back at exactly what went on. Zoro couldn't find himself a kill in that one, but he did get a couple of assists to his name. The kill credit was shared everywhere. I think the most important thing, is Dobson's performance in that mid lane position was pretty solid on that Chronos.
Same with OverPoweredUSB. Those two players definitely stepped up in this game 3. ColossxI as well had a really good game on that Thor. Much better team performance from Dobbos Disciples. That's the squad that I expected to see coming into this set.
And that was the end of Europe for today. We've already dealt with the PlayStation side of things from console 2. 2 sets down, Ryan, but we've still got North America to come.
That's right. We're going to open up a PS4 and a very big game for Nemesis as they're trying to battle into that first seed.
We'll be looking more towards that momentarily, but for now, we're going to go to a quick commercial break.